Almost forgot. We gotta be on that thing. Almost started late. What are we doing? I'm still eating my lunch. What are we even doing? I gotta wait for that thing to start filling out with the numbers. Now live on your channel, Crow Cane Live. That's me. That's me. I am live. All right. I'm drinking lemonade. It's hot. No burrito today. I'm eating for people who don't have it in their land. I'm eating canes. It's delicious. Yep. Mr. Shaker MT himself is out driving on the course right now. We're multitasking. Oh, all right. As it has been requested, we'll see what her form looks like today. As we welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Susan in top form. I've got stuff to keep myself busy. And hopefully keep you all occupied. I've lost my microfiber though. I'll just get another one. All right. We are in the midst of an argument where there are people that will debate you whether climate change is real, to which I argue change is the only thing the climate does, is it changes. It's constantly changing. Because yesterday it was 95 degrees. Today it should be around 70. Tomorrow it's going to be around 57, and that's not the way it works here. Oh, someone asked about the Emo X2. He got the notification either yesterday or today that it has shipped, and it is apparently shipping directly from wherever Cross is, not the U.S. Cross. So we can't even speculate on how long that's going to take. I think his shipping thing said before the end of the month. So before the end of the month, I am looking forward to seeing the Emo X2 because it is gargantuan, and we want to see that. I had no intention of unboxing this at this time. It's just happening incidentally. Does anybody want to see a G4P? Because I don't. There it is. You know that it's been kind of meme-ified. One of my favorites is these dudes at like a wrecking yard, and the shifter for some new truck has like little levers, toggles that you pull, and the guy pulls on the thing and he goes, "Huh!" And then he pushes on the thing, and the outside guy's all, because that's what instead of like a shifter or a shifter, it's these little levers that you push and pull. That's what I feel every time the two ABS BS being applicable. And right behind me, you'd never guess. No! It's like poison. It's poison in your system. Element released the trailing arm IFS2 rig. Thoughts? I think that it is Element. It's Element with the Italian hand. Element. Because what does Element do? They take stuff that they've already got, mix it around, and they make something new. So, Zool 2, if you own a Zool or an Ecto, you can have one for $99. There's really no reason to buy it. I mean, yes, sure, there is a weather scratchy body on it or whatever. You can do that too. So I think it looks good. I think that light blue that they picked, that's a good looking color, but I see no reason for anyone to buy. And yes, as Brian Massey just said, and yet no Stealth XF. Exactly right. How much longer is Element going to go before they just put an XF in something else? Because it is currently, surely Element has run out of combinations by now. Well, they haven't made the missing link yet, so we don't have Trailing Arms, Stealth XF, and IFS2. They could do that. They could also do IFS2 with linked rear. And then, I mean, maybe they'll lose their minds and someone will talk them into doing Leafs, and Element will put Leafs in the back, and we can have IFS2 in the front and Leafs in the back. I would find that to be a lot more interesting / compelling than what we got from quote-unquote Zool 2. And yes, JP Word is correct. Baseline for Class 1 purposes. This is Baseline's baby brother, BBB. This is the 3Bs. We are going to Class 1ify this because the problem was when we're testing Class 1 tires on Baseline, this body, and look, ooh, do you want to see it? We're gonna do it. Okay, it's now pinned in. So, I'm trying not to set Baseline in my food. So here you go. That's a lot of miles of hard road on there. So this guy will go up in the rafters, and when this finally dies, when the drift stitches can't hold it together anymore, though I have to give nothing but props to Element for the Sendero because these are enormously difficult to kill. Because it got that split right there in the front really early on and really has nothing else. Has nothing else. I think I did trim, yeah, and there's a little down lip. I trimmed that lip off for a little bit of better clearance on Class 2s. But so, yes, here's what no one wants to see. I mean, ain't nobody dope as him. He is just so fresh, so clean. And yes, we have the body for it already. We went full Amazon because it is going to be a tester, and I don't want to go through, I don't want to paint anything. My kid really wants you and Shaker MT to do the challenge I sent him earlier. He's supposed to be in bed. We want to make sure you do. Listen, I don't know what it is with you Scandinavians / Norwegians trying to get me to eat salted licorice. I mean, maybe. The whole idea of it terrifies me. So, oh yeah, if I didn't complete the thought, I got it halfway out. It's a Bronco. It's a Bronchi. Because, unless they've changed something, and I doubt that they have. Yeah. We're gonna make it work. I mean, give me some time. Salted licorice is nice, and I'm not a Scandi. Well, what if you don't like licorice from the jump? Like, black licorice. My wife likes black licorice, and I attempted to cajole her into trying it, and she refused outright. But, I mean, I can give it a try. There's two things of... I'll have to run in the house and grab them, but... We need to get this guy pulled down a little bit. I had forgotten how firm the insert is in there. It is firm. Real. See if we can just... Yeah. Definitely not pin seekers as his OE tire. I have a pile of Class 1s out of frame over here on the bench. And if we want to punish future tires to be tested, we can just make this guy's day-to-day tire 419 Tusks, which would be, I mean, cruel. Cruel. I got megalithics in here too. We could do that. Have you tried to pair the Enduro Blue silicones to the Tim Tims yet? I have not, because it would require, well, because, okay, I need to get a Tim Tim that's not, so it would be so much cutting, because the Injora is really narrow. I did just shim another set of inserts this morning, but yeah, the cut line, yeah. For anybody who wants to just start cutting their stuff up, yeah, under the middle line right there, if you cut all of that out right there, the Tim Tim will slide right in there. But the way a lot of inserts are going nowadays is they're going the opposite direction of that. JP Wirt sent me a link earlier to where a guy is doing 3D printed on the inside, but open cell on the outside for like increased tunability. And I can get behind that. Especially with the outer foams being, you know, basically discardable. I actually just threw a whole bunch of them away because I didn't have anything to do with them. So another for the, ooh, that one's really on there. I need my trim tool. That one is really on there. They're still using the black foam tape, which I'm not a huge fan of. I forgot that there's plugs in here. We're gonna make a big old pile of screws. Because in an attempt to mitigate the front end implosions common to element vehicles put into testing duty, one of the first things we've got to do today is we're just going to SSD the front and rear. Are you doing the same mods to BBB that have been done to Baseline? I would like to start this thing just as stock as we can get it. I've been debating about, no, you know what? I'm just going to do it. We're not only that, we're going to convert this to chassis mounted steering. I'm gonna dig out a Panhard mount. I'm gonna have to find one in the bins, and we're gonna put the servo. We're gonna do. It's class 1. It's class 1. We gotta have chassis mounted steering. There are things that I am curious about because Baseline was effectively a launch edition SE, and they have made some changes. They have definitely made some changes in that the wheelbase is now 12.8. So they changed the rear links because it used to be a 12.3 chassis with a 12.8 body on top of it, and you had to stretch the links. So I was just assuming that we were still operating under that idea, but they fixed it. So now it's 12.8, 12.8. But the body I have is a 12.3. So I either dig around for Baseline's original lower plastics, which, I mean, they're ribbed for your pleasure, but nevertheless, they are, speaking of licorice, they are not the most robust things that you can get. Yeah, we kind of came to the conclusion that, like, the sticker, right? So the stickers are always on the insides of the rotors facing in. And we came to the notion that is because when you put a wheel on it, you can still see the brake rotor, but from the outside you can't really see anything. I mean, they could have They could have put in stickers on both sides, I guess, but I'll give them this though. They've gotten better at, like, that feels great. So yeah, the goal is to make as few changes as possible to the stock configuration, because likely what's going to happen is we're going to experience all of the same points of failure and wear out that we got with baseline and are continuing to get with baseline, and we'll just we'll move forward from there. They are definitely licorice links. On the Zool. Oh, so on the Zool review, the brake rotor sticker was on the outside. Also, the other reason that I think the brake rotor sticker isn't typically on the outside is because that's where the screws are. So, it'd be kind of hard to put, like, the stickers would have to have holes for the screws. Baseline finally lost his last brake rotor. He had lost his rears because there were wheels that were rubbing on them. So I took the rears off, and then when he did the squeaky tires, he had to lose the fronts. Wait until you see the majesty. Wait until you see the majesty that is the bin. What is very nice to see is that the SEs still come fitted with a metal. When you get an XF kit, this gear is plastic, and that is less optimal because you will, and a slipper eliminator, so not just a plastic gear, but a slipper eliminator. And in the one that I put into Blue Sky High, I blew that plastic gear up almost immediately. I don't know what they do to get these pinions on here. Oh, because they're D-shaped. So we pull out all of this stuff, as we don't want to ruin the experience for ourselves and others. Let's try the trim tool and see if we can get this pinion off of here. Another reedy crawler, and soon to be another 1523 in the box, and a 480X. And yeah, I will. I believe I saw something say 500. Yeah, that's not bad. Artful Dodgers makes steel slotted replacements for the plastic rotors for the lower price of $14.99. I'm assuming that's for a pair. I mean, they're pretty good looking, so I might do it. But last I had heard, or last I had checked, last time I was on the Artful Dodgers site, most everything was shown as out of stock. I know y'all Europeans go on vacations and whatnot, so I was operating under the assumption that maybe he was on vacation. 9 bolts. This is Baseline's baby brother. We are doing a Class 1 Enduro SE. Wow, they did not go cheap on the amount of tape holding that FS Rad BS in there. We'll just keep jockeying it back and forth. So add it to the list, everybody. If you are a different type of folks person, Mike Reedy would turn in his grave. He's probably spinning in his grave with a greater amount of torque than this motor can generate. I mean, there's no resistance whatsoever. Usually on a brushed motor, you will get some sort of resistance. I don't know how they make a motor with that little torque. But what I do know is, I need to get these plugs out of here, because I do like this thing. Yeah, $14.90 for a full set out of stock. Oh, man. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that, because I wouldn't mind Baseline getting his rotors back, and I wouldn't mind him getting rotors. And Missing Link has got rotors as well. And, yeah. Tell Artful Dodgers to get off a vacation so I can order like 5 sets. So we've got the venerable SC40X. and the Reedy 16 turn 5 slot. I think I have them all collated. Ladies and gentlemen, the bin. Have you ever seen, look at that. So there's so many. I have to be in double digits by now, I think. That bin's gonna have to move down to the bottom because it's starting to get heavy. So I don't want to do too much to this thing structurally, but some stuff need be done functionally as we put a little money down in what is hopefully a cost-saving measure, because these axles, I mean, I don't want to say they're not up to it, but Baseline gets a lot of miles on him. This guy, probably not as many miles as he's the C1 guy now. So hopefully we'll reduce mileage on both Baseline and his baby brother. But I've been blowing out. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I definitely did just say that I just can't. I'm sure he's a lovely, I'm sure that he's a lovely, lovely man, but when he called the Red Cat Ascent the RTR of the year, that was it, man. That was the tap out for me. I just couldn't, because the vehicle it's not great. Fit in an aluminum Capra fuel cell receiver box in the TRX4 LCG chassis. Does your receiver box look like this, but with more bits and pieces put in it? I just heard myself. I'm in a vacuum. Now I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah. If people don't hate the BS, the G4P, as much as I do, then this one is absolutely free of charge. Just let me know, and let me know, and I will give it to you. I will feel like I am doing you a disservice by giving it to you, but I will give it to you. Where did there we are. We're back. Baseline versus Maverick on Baseline versus Missing Link on Maverick or 9 Gates. That would be a good one. That'd be a good one. Sabine River. Where? Someone tell me where the Sabine. Someone tell me where that is. Yeah, Shaker MT is getting very meta right now as he's posting from his phone about 8 feet away from where I'm standing. So this is like the Matrix now. So I'm just keeping myself, I'm keeping us busy. My wife is going to a hockey game, like a I don't know what you would call it, like an amateur junior league. I don't know. And then on Sunday, I'm going with my wife to another hockey game, and she's not even a fan of hockey. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting all the way around. I'm sure a good time will be had by all. Also, we've made a double decision to go for chassis mounted steering because A, class 1, B, the SSD Diamond Pros for Element, they don't like servo and axle. Oh, hey. Derek Cataract says, love me some hockey. I'm a big Seattle Kraken fan. The day that we're going to on Sunday is like Kraken night. I guess the teams that we're watching, one of them must be like a farm team, if indeed hockey works like baseball. It must be some sort of farm team for the Kraken. I know that on the announcement thing for it, it says Kraken night in big letters. So we've got that going for us. I mean, I'm as big of a hockey fan as any other non-hockey fan, so I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to eat overpriced concessions. I think they're giving away like bobbleheads or something. It'll be great. I know the guys swear by Red Cat. They just can't overcome the entry price. They just don't care about what's better, just that it's cool. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this in a video. I know I've said it in person, but here's what it comes down to. If you say that the Red Cat Ascent is amazing, and you've only ever driven one vehicle, then you're right. It's the best one. But there's a phrasing that I like to use called sample size. Sample size. If your sample size is you've driven a Red Cat Ascent, then your sample size is 1. So it's the best thing by default. The more things you drive, the more unintentionally critical you get of those things. I operate from a position of privilege, and that is inarguable. I buy RC cars, I am sent RC cars, and we operate in a very top gear frame of mind here where we have no dark corporate overlords that we have to appease. So when I do a quick view on something, I'm not going to spend the first 5 minutes reading you. I'm sure it's on here. Yeah, there we go. I'm not going to spend the first 5 minutes reading you this. Can I get it in frame? There, this. 1.9 beadlock wheels. One-piece polycarbonate Sendero SE body. Yeah, if you have eyes, you already know this. You want to know the things. Will it do the thing? Does it have the things? So I'm not here to, I make a long video, and that's fine. I have a bone to pick with you. Every time you review something and it turns out good, that shit goes out of stock like instantly, and I can never get it. Well, I wish that I could say I had that kind of power. The only time that I felt like I had that kind of power was when I did the review on the fake approaches, the fake Duratrex approach, that for whatever reason were on Amazon for like $12 a set. That video went live, and within the hour, they went out of stock, and I have never seen them back on stock on Amazon since. So I would like to think that I had some small part to play in that. I probably didn't, but I'd like to think that. Somewhere in Cali, right? Makes me not want to visit it there. We're in the good part. Okay, if I point this way, Los Angeles is directly in the point that the direction my hand is pointing, about 75 miles. So, Disneyland is that way, about 75 miles. We are at a junction / crossroads where a bunch of freeways come together. If you want to go to Palm Springs, or you're going to or from Arizona, you pass right by here. If you're going to Vegas, you pass right by here. So that's my theory as to why this place ended up being the place that it is. Because there's really no other reason to be here. The views are pretty nice. The weather's not terrible. But the good part, really. I mean, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I did take my kids to San Francisco in 2018? No offense to anyone in the Bay Area, but that is not the San Francisco of my childhood. It was a wildly different experience. And this time around, we get to use the nice brass bits for the SSDs. And they come with full bearings. So we're going to have full bearings in the axles without even trying, because they just provide those parts for us. I need this. We'll use the axle to insert the bearings. So the canyon is close to Apple Valley. Hour. Maybe a little more. Hour-ish. But yeah, my buddy that's sitting right over there lives in Hesperia. So he is probably about, where he lives is about, I'm going to get that thing in there. Where he lives is about 20 minutes from Horseman's Park, where like Proline by the Fire and all those things take place. So yeah, it's just right. It's right up. I'm getting some parallax because I'm pointing that way, but it looks like I'm pointing kind of towards the camera. He's right up that way, up the 15 freeway. Like Portland nowadays. In the 90s, it was amazing, weird, and now it's just sad and gross. That is San Francisco. That is Los Angeles. Yeah, Los Angeles. Can you fly with an RC? I've heard conflicting things. Yes, but no batteries. Sounds like you're close to Auto Club Speedway. About 30 minutes, maybe less than 30 minutes. You have to state that correctly. The former Auto Club Speedway, because they're going to be converting it into a short track. They sold off, I think the last news little blurb that I read was they sold off 95% of the property to whatever developers so they can build more Amazon fulfillment warehouses. Oh, it's moving on pretty quick. What have I mixed? We're building Baseline's baby brother. So you're sort of close to Chuckwalla Raceway. I don't know what that is. I've been past your place a dozen times and never knew it. Yeah, this is suburbia, but this is old-timey suburbia before we got overrun. So like where we're positioned, there's the river, and you can't build anything because of her river. This is where I always get this wrong. No, I got it right. Oh, I gotta get my little pool of thread lock out so that I can thread lock these pieces. Do you know why obstacles look less steep, difficult when we film them? My theory is the same reason that cameras make people look fat. Because they take away the third dimension. There's no depth, right? And if there's no depth, like I keep getting told, people see the videos and then they come here and they drive and they don't realize how steep Slick Rock is, or that there's a completely vertical part on it because it gets compressed by the camera. The camera doesn't work purely like a human eye does. There's a good bit of compression going on. Oh, we've got now the man from Romania himself is throwing around free memberships, gifting out the gift memberships. Are you putting the GKS shock towers on? If I have any left. Oh, battery you can bring in the hand carry-on if it's under 100 watt-hours, and that's no problem for us crawlers. Yeah, also, you know what else isn't a problem? If you are seriously, like if there's anyone out there that is like, oh, I would get on a plane and I would go visit the canyon, but for batteries or transporting the rigs, baby, don't worry about it. This is the bag of 3S batteries. I know. Safety first. We can help you out. There are also, at any given time, somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 working crawlers here. You are one and all, as a collective, as a group. You are welcome to drive each and every one of them as much as you would like. That is my offer to you. I don't know what this yellow. It has a very, anybody that has serviced an Element, okay, I'm doing this thing right here. I'm assuming it's because it's lithium based, but that grease has a very soapy smell to it. That's a very soapy smelling grease. And I need to get at least one stub in here so that the diff doesn't fall out. It's Lee Jordan has broken the story wide open, and apparently the grease that Element uses is just butter. And I don't have any. I can't argue. I mean, it could very well be butter. It works okay. I'm just a more of a fan of the CV joint stuff. Oh, we're just throwing bearings around. Calipers to the front or calipers to the back? They have calipers to the back. We want to. It's a continuity thing. We gotta maintain continuity. My intention is to bring my crawler to you, visit you, and leave my crawler there when I'm going for you to make it a Crawler Canyon certified. Yeah. All right. Then we're gonna have to figure out. We're gonna have to find out somebody that lives on the nearest U.S. military base, so we can ship it back to you for less than like $150. Because for whatever reason, it's cheaper for you to send guys to the U.S. because whenever I try to ship anything out of here, it's basically prohibitive. I'm like Kramer on Seinfeld. I use butter to shave with. It's got those emollients. Will keep you smooth and supple. Lanolin. Is that the smell? I mean, butter's a grease. The problem with butter is it will go rancid and smell even worse. And this kind of smells. I'm going to smell some more. It smells kind of good. There's definitely a lotiony smell to it. I almost thought sometimes I forget when I'm working on Diamond Pros. I thought I forgot to put the pinion in, and then I remembered that the pinion's in a carrier right over there, so I didn't forget to put the pinion in. And hopefully, I did this correctly, and we're not going to have the axle spinning in the same direction. Yes, it looks. You know, when there's no pinion in there, so smooth. Now, if Element can just, and maybe it's part of the design, but and then you can hear your wheels doing it too, going clack, 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 clack. And luckily, I didn't pull that carrier out of the bearings, so if there's a spacer in there, I haven't ruined it. Oh yeah, I was supposed to be. I did. I'm losing track of everything. Now I'm trying to find a pick. Yeah, I was always told to use hand lotion on car leather. I was told, think about it, it's just cow skin. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Which reminds me of there's a thing now, there's a memery type thing, where guys are putting lotion on really oxidized paint on cars. Like, you know, if you've had your Nissan for more than 5 years, the paint's all oxidizing off. And guys are just rubbing Jergens lotion all over the car. And it makes it basically, it looks brand new. Like it's all super shiny. Problem is, lotion is going to pick up. I think the industry term is everything. And then your car is just going to be a big pile of grit. Because cars don't have skin. And what is that? What? Oh, it's this. That's my phone charger. I keep missing the soap component. Yeah, okay. Is a rig real if it doesn't make any quirky sounds? No. Any suggestions on a car to play well with my dad's UTB 18 and my Enduro SE? Anything, man. Anything. Whatever you want. They stopped selling the sport kit, but, you know, I would just I tried to tell everybody to get a TRX4 Sport, because I just like them. But, I mean, so he's got a little tiny thing with portals, and you've got one of these with straight axles. My advice to everyone, and I picked this up from when I was addicted to cycling, horribly addicted. And try to get something that's different. And I know that's going to be tough for you because you've got a Capra and that's cage based. We try not to get the budget too crazy. I mean, so yeah, anything but an Ascent is good advice. Oh yeah, they are still selling the HBR Venture Kit for like $199. And every month I'm tempted to buy one, and then I'm attracted by something else shiny. Yeah, the VRD Carbon is a great build because it's just a straight. Do they have new screws? No. Yes. Yes. It's just a straight VFD. The Twin is a great gearbox, but man, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I was just saying to Mr. MT right over here just a little bit ago that all I had to do to get my VFD Twin to stop clicking was replace everything. Well, everything except the plastics, which I guess I probably should have replaced first. So if you've got a VFD Twin and it's clicking, just buy the plastics. Try changing the plastics. Because I had a launch edition one, and I think that's why it clicked, but I did it the more expensive way. What did I miss? Oh, HBI Venture with TR Friction. Yeah, I got one of the guys who comes over here sporadically to wheel around a bit in the canyon. I think he did Bridge and Tunnel. The FJ Cruiser, that's an HBI Venture, the OG HBI Venture. And at that time, I don't think he had so much as changed the servo. It still had the stock HPI electronics in it. Okay, that feels gross. Wait. Yeah, that doesn't feel great. That does not feel great. I don't know what it is with my luck about getting these things. So I'm guessing the shimming on there is not agreeing with this new housing because that feels chunky. And let me get rid of some plastic. While we're here, we might as well make some small effort to make it not chunky. I'm supposed to be eating my cold chicken. Which one of your rigs do you dread working on the most? It's got to be Capra. Like Caged. So RoboKitty and Misdirection in equal measure. Because the cage is a fully integrated component. Like it's the part. Machine Dread, the hard to beat the Mias nylon. $79.99 for portal axles that use Vanquish parts. That's tough to beat. Second place would be when they're in stock, and I realize that's becoming less and less common. You can get TRX 4 axles from Jenny's for about $110 a pair. But yeah, the RR10 Bomber is a pain in the ass to work on too. Cage. Yeah. Cages are not conducive to good times. That felt so ratchety. So that leads me to think that there is a shim on the gear side because I've got this. So that's about, I don't know, I might go so far as to say about 2 millimeters. And this side has no slack. So that just means we get to take stuff out. Because when they shimmed it from the factory, I think that shimming doesn't agree with the SSD. Axles. Gearboxes are way easier. in my humble opinion, there's a lot less to go wrong in a gearbox than there are in an axle, because straight cut gears, man. When you've got these intersecting beveled gears, we already have it apart, you know. I'm definitely gonna have to get another. I'm gonna have to get one of those HPI Ventures. They're not expensive. I mean, $199. Throw whatever body. Why can't I get this out? Okay, now let's see where they shimmed it. Okay, there's no shim on that side. And there's 2 shims on the other side. All right. So, oftentimes, this is why I didn't add grease. I knew I'd be here. We're going to try 1 shim per side. And these are probably much like the CRC, the Calandra Racing Concepts shims. These are 0.1 millimeter shims. So the difference between a grind box and something that works. Now, $209 on Amazon right now for the HPI. $199 at HRP. If you want to save $9. And I haven't checked to see if it's eligible for coupons at HRP, but I reckon it probably is. Get Venture, put hard body on, come to the dark side. You know, there's a lazy part of me that right under here, can you hear this noise? That is the Killer Body LC70. And I'm trying to think, what do I want to put it on? Do I want something that's linked? Do I want something that's leafed? Do I want to lean into it and go full tilt class 1? Honestly, that doesn't feel much better at all. Okay, we're going to try just putting caddy corner screws in and see how that feels. Maybe it was just loose and that's why it felt ratchety there. No. No. I have so I put 1 shim on each side. I can't rotate the axle at all. I basically locked it down. I don't want this to look like an anti-element. I love me some element. Half link, half leafed. I mean, there's always the element option. IFS front and leaf rear, which would be much more actual truck. Yeah. Who said it? Where'd it go? Derek, you're correct. Daphne has not been out on the course in too long. It has definitely been too long. There's a shim under the pinion, and it won't let go of me. That might have been it. That may well have been it. Because I don't think we need a shim under the pinion at all. Just make it a half track. Okay. I can appreciate a class 1, but I don't know if I'm turning into a full class 1 guy. As soon as I get this cover tightened down, it feels like hot garbage. I'm going to get this figured out. Oh, wait, no. It was just when the 1 was down. Yeah. It needs weight. I mean, listen to this. Mellifluous. But, let's see. Oh, it's way better. It's way better. It needs grease. And I turned it on its side, and the 5x10 fell out. So we're going to get rid of that one. And we're going to have to grab the giant drawer of 5x10s. And we'll put some Avids in the axle ends. Because I spun the axle around without the little brake rotors on, and there's a bearing under the bench now somewhere. LC on a VRD carbon. Okay. The primary part of me, the one that lives closest to the surface, it sees Class 1 and says, well, let us put the most capable things we can find on the Class 1 to help offset the fact that we're toting around a tank for a body. And then the other part of me is like, well, I mean, shouldn't we be leaning into the Class 1-ness of it? But then I see what guys are doing on leaf rigs now that are, what is it, Twisted Fab? They're getting like 5 inches of suspension travel out of a leaf rig, so I don't know. How is it going to be named? I don't know. It's Baseline's baby brother for now. And, well, we're nowhere close. I don't know if I'll be able to get this whole thing. Eric, what is the base for this build? Enduro SE. And the goal is, as Baseline was, to keep the changes to a minimum other than going to servo and CMS versus SOA. Yeah, the more pieces I get into it, the better it's starting to feel. But I think that the butter, I don't think there's enough Element brand. I don't think there's enough Element brand butter left in there. So we've got to grease it up. And then we'll get it clamped together. And then hopefully, we're going to get a left side, right side thing where when you work on the left side of the car, it takes an hour. And then when you go on the right side, it takes 5 minutes. I accidentally bought a pair of AR60s. I accidentally get axles and gearboxes and motors all the time. I don't know what happens. They fall into my cart. And bodies, too. I keep buying bodies. VRD Carbon, brazen flatline with LC70 body at 7 pounds. It's not bad. And this one, I don't know. So I got I borrowed the idea because I'm still building the guy's fake, the FRD, the one that I did the chassis up for, and it's got it's the same Bronco that's on there. And I don't know how much of the Bronco we're going to put on it. Guys will take a Mojave body and run basically none of it. So I don't want to go that far, but like I'm thinking, do I want to put windows in it? I mean, I don't know. We'll see where it goes because most, after wheeling the Scottsdale around with a 3-pound body, yeah, I don't want to throw that much weight at it. There we go. We're getting something. We're going somewhere. We're doing a thing. Put the last couple screws in, and I think I was smart-ish in building the rear axle first because I have this suspicion it's there and it's very sneaky that the front axle is going to treat me meaner. The guy's got his 55 out again. Must be that time of day. Yeah, rift axles. Yeah, axial grease. The Vanquish grease doesn't really smell like anything. The Element grease now, yeah, it's ground into my hands. It smells kind of nice. Like a lawnmower-y smell. Maybe they use a similar lithium type grease on lawnmowers. The CB joint grease does not smell particularly nice. It smells like a grease because it's petroleum based. Delivered today? So Well, it says it right there. I'd be repeating. I'd be repeating. Yeah, Emo X2. Lord knows with DHL. Did somebody say Fusion SE on a Sendero? $1,200 on your TRX4 LCG chassis. How do you keep your battery straps from being chewed off the skids? Daphne runs her battery up front, I think. Where does Daphne run her? Oh my God, that's how bad my memory's gotten, everybody. Oh yeah. All right. So Daphne, she was spoken about, so she appeared. Daphne runs her battery right there. I made a little bracket to go up there. So, I mean, her side skids, I don't even think I could fit a battery because the 2-speed servo is right there. So she runs it up there. It's not the lowest spot, but it is definitely as far forward as possible. Oh, Bothmalls has been drawn in by Google, who on all of my stuff puts contact information as Crawler Canyon RC, which is in the greater Chicagoland area. That's not me. I'm in Southern California, and they used to be called, like, I want to say Pat and something's RC trailer, and they had a little icon of a trailer, and then they changed at some point to Crawler Canyon RC, but Crawler Canyon was already here, so far as I know, because I have the Crawler Canyon YouTube, the Crawler Canyon Instagram, the Crawler Canyon at Gmail, and I think that's where they are, Crawler Canyon RC now. So if you see Crawler Canyon RC, that's not me. That is the guys in Chicago. But I mean, I can still answer your question if you want. If you want to know, first time crawling, want to have quality to dollars without breaking the bank. Right now, in terms of, and I know it might not look like it because I just fought to get this axle put together, but Element is still doing great stuff. And the big lure of the Ascent Fusion to people is that it has a fusion in it. This right here. Well, here's the thing I want people to understand. This is $69.99, right? So it replaces the terrible motor and speed control that come in these. The builder's kit. So if I was gonna say something to start off with, find a place that has the Element Builder's Kit 2 in stock. Build it. It's straightforward. You're basically building this, but with a little bit nicer parts. Like, it has metal links. It has the factory team links. It has nice shocks. It has all the nice pieces. Get yourself one of these and a servo and a radio, and you will have something that you don't feel like you're going to grow out of it. Like, you can turn Baseline, the guy who was out here earlier that basically just looks like this. I was saying early last year that he probably has 300 hours of wheel time on him. He's probably at 500 hours of wheel time now. I would say conservatively, Baseline is getting wheeled 4 or 5 hours a week. So, 250 to 300 hours a year. And there are pictures of him when he was brand new, when he was a young babby boy, and he looked just like this, shiny. And he just works. He just works. Torn on keeping the Sendero servo and axle versus chassis. Yeah, chassis mounted steer. Okay, here's the thing. I'll go the advocate for the devil. For the devil. servo and axle, what's right over here, servo and axle is basically cheating. You need less torque. You have no worries about front end geometry because it's just 4-linked out. Chassis mounted steering, like when I changed all of her stuff over, I had to change her links multiple times to get the links to cooperate, to remove bump steer, to get the front end to behave the way I wanted. But when you're doing that, once you get past that initial frustration of it, you develop the knowledge of how it works. The relationship between the drag link and the panhard. The relationship that is set first by the front upper link that doesn't just set your pinion angle, because whenever you change the length of one of the links, those three, the upper three in the front, the drag link, the panhard, and the front upper, they are all intricately related. If you change one, the other one is going to change. Because if you change your drag link length, if you shorten it, now your panhard is too long. So that's why there's a turnbuckle in here. And when she finally got set up, we moved to a different link. And I got really, really lucky because when she went to the G2 Wilderness axles, I didn't have to relink her again. Ordinarily, if you change an axle housing that isn't a direct replacement like this one, all your link lengths just go out the window and you get to start over again because your pumpkin will be at the wrong angle. These will probably, and by probably I mean almost inevitably, be replaced because I have these are just the straight links. So it's not, we could just throw a full set of axial links on there. It's not a problem. We're not going to put anything exotic on there. I have a use for that TC8 Marksman. Proline by the Fire theme this year is the 1850s. I was thinking about building an RC Stagecoach. It's tough. What does the Old West have to do with RC? The suspension on a Trailfinder 2 is the same suspension that was on a Prairie Schooner. That's the evolution. So whenever anybody talks about dated designs in RC, the first thing that pops into my head is, leaf springs are coming up on 200 years old, and leaf springs as we know them. So yeah, I don't know. But what does the Old West have to do with RC? From the outside, nothing. I don't know. Yeah, the everybody, if your only experience is one or the t'other, if every rig that you have ever happenstanced your way into has been servo and axle, get yourself something with chassis mounted steering. The limitations are not that great, and if you get to a point where you learn how to tune it and you learn how to work with it, then there's no real drawbacks. And in fact, instead of drawbacks, those are instead replaced with, it looks more scale. You can get offset pumpkin. If this had an offset pumpkin, it's going to try to run the drive shaft. Every time the suspension compresses, the drive shaft is going to hit the upper link. That wouldn't be there in a 3-link front end. So there's definitely room for both, and my brain is lazy. So I will, Studebaker started as a buggy company. Why wouldn't it? We, I think humans, in their nature, are energy conserving. So we will try to find a way to do it the easiest way. Oh, I wonder, can we do a quick upgrade right here? If we have it. Nope, that's the short one. Oh, I am probably going to have to adjust the wheelbase on this. Yeah, there we go. We can put a, this was the sum total of the modification that I did to baseline drive shafts. The stock ones come with just plastic sliders, and while there's nothing explicitly wrong with the plastic sliders, because it's plastic on plastic on plastic, what will happen is grit and stuff gets in there, and all of the materials, this guy and this guy, this guy and this guy are made out of the same thing. So when the grit is in there, they just kind of weld themselves together. And then the slidey bit doesn't want to act like a slidey bit anymore. and then you're like, why isn't my suspension working? Like, why am I not getting flex, compression, and extension? And it's because your drive shafts are basically locked up. So I just that's all I did to baseline, was I just drop in the aluminum piece that comes on every kit. And every other RTR. Every other RTR that isn't the SE. The SE is the only one that comes all plastic, I'm pretty sure. I also have a set of the exact same shock, but the alloy body, they are right here. I can just throw those on there. I don't remember if they need to be rebuilt, though. They need to be rebuilt. And I am late. I am energy conserving by nature. One of my 2 rigs came with CMS. I made a custom bracket to do COA because it had pretty bad geometry. Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing a crawl-a-thon? Run a set of gates, shoot 5 rounds, repeat. I can't see the comment. It's behind a big heart. Cheap air rifles like the Industry V3. Which will ask you? Oh! Like a biathlon, but with rock crawlers. I get it. At first, I didn't understand what that meant. My 2 CMS rigs are an SCX 10.3 JLU and a Vanquish Phoenix. Guess which works better? Unless you're being overwhelmingly sarcastic, I would have to say probably the Vanquish, because it doesn't have a panhard bar that looked like it came out of one of those robotic bender machines that bends all the things. When they had designed it, they could have just put the panhard mount in a different place, and then they wouldn't have had to do this to the panhard bar to get it to clear the axle. Crawlympics. Yeah. So it may have changed the rear pinion angle just a little bit. Did I just thumb up? It may have changed it a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. It's not an issue anyway. We're going to probably have to relink it. Crawlympics is going to happen. It's going to happen. The bin storage facility is 90% done. It's got a roof. The awning in the front is done. It needs trim and paint. And then I can start getting stuff moved out of the way properly. I can extend the gate and open up a new, there'll be a new entryway to get into the canyon proper. It as I say, it stands as plans currently because I still barely have any room. Hey! I still barely have any room in as it is. Mike Cross down there in New Zealand has gotten the package that I sent his way. That didn't take too long. I say, not remembering when I mailed it. Maybe it got there quickly. I don't know. I'm bringing my 10 Pro and a Red Cat. Like I say, I feel like people think that I have some sort of anti-Red Cat vendetta. I don't, but I don't like the false economy. I don't. Like, they have that low price point, and people see that low price point and they go, oh man, what a deal. But the price point of the regular Ascent is this, same price as this. And the price point of the Ascent Fusion is pretty much any of the other. You could get the Zool too for the same exact money. I did struggle through a bit of the Mark Santamaria review of the Zool 2, where he said something to the effect, and I paraphrase, of the, he called it the most capable crawler he's ever driven. And I thought, I like Element as much as the next guy, maybe more, but IFS and trailing arms is not the most capable is not the recipe for the most capable platform. You could probably outcrawl it in this because they're all testing it on the exact same stuff. Although now they're all 2-in-1s. This guy has probably been sitting in a box in the back of the warehouse since Baseline was bought because it still had a 480 in it. And everything new from Element has got that, the 2-in-1. And there is more torque and drag brake out of that 2-in-1 compared to the 480X. But that 2-in-1 is slaved to the G4P, which is an absolute nightmare of a radio. Don't forget the plastic knob. Don't forget the plastic knob. I'm not a big fan of RTRs. I feel like I've been vocal about that. But beyond that, that radio is not a favorite of mine. I knew the front end was going to fight me harder. I was going to get an Ascent Fusion until I heard you talking about the axles. That's why I plan on a VRD Carbon. Honestly, and this is the honestness of the honestness. If Red Cat had made a new axle for the Fusion, it would probably be very good, to the point where it might be competitive, even ignoring the fact that the Panhard bar is on the wrong side of the vehicle. But you cannot get around those Gen 9 axles. They had to know. They had to know what they were doing. Because the Gen 9 axle, and I traded the Gen 9, I traded the Ascent out for a motor, for a big block 540. That was the exchange that I made for that one. I got rid of it. But if I still had one of the axles here, I could show you that the clearance under the pumpkin relative to where the knuckle is, it has about 3 or 4 millimeters more clearance than this straight axle. Because it uses such a massive ring gear, the pumpkin is so big that even with the portal box, it's not like portal clearance. So, yeah, the Ascent Fusion seems to do okay in spite of the design decisions. Yeah, and the biggest weakness of the Ascent Fusion are the Gen 9 axles. And if you're going to change the axles, now you have like a $550 Ascent Fusion. And you could have had a VRD. You could have bought a Phoenix. A buddy of mine was just saying, how much is the Ascent Fusion? And I go $399. And he goes, and how much is a Phoenix RTR? And I go, like $459. And he goes, $60. I go, yeah. And he goes, people are buying Ascents because it's $60 cheaper than a Phoenix. And I'm like, yeah, that's mad. Absolutely mad. That screw, how am I going to get there? You love that Panhard. I love a potato scale version of the actually it would be, there we go. There's a 10-3 Panhard for you, and I'm gonna eat it. How about them top-mounted shocks? Not just top-mounted shocks, but shocks with a lower eye is secured by a set screw that goes through the C-hub. I mean, I saw some decisions, class questionable, underneath the G-Made Spider, but nothing like putting the bolt that holds your shock through your C-hub. What is the servo? Yeah, flash. Okay. Here's the thing. Bothmals, Flash Hobby 60 kg is an excellent servo. If you're running a servo, okay, if you're building a builder's kit, which will have chassis mounted steering, 500 ounces is about the minimum. So you can get away with a blue case. The problem with the blue case is you will probably end up, if you go with an Amazon Blue Case servo, at some point you will probably end up replacing it. Not because it dies or it burns out. You're just going to get to a point where the speed, you're going to go, I wish this was just a little bit faster. I mean, if you're okay with the speed, and you will be for a while, and there'll be a point that just suddenly you're not anymore. I have no complaints about the Blue Case. There are a number of rigs in here fitted with the Amazon Blue Case, and for the money, I don't think there's a servo out there that comes close. I mean, they're like $30, and they will do 600 ounces. Any money that you're paying beyond that, like $30, you're just buying speed. You're buying more speed. And as you spend that money more and more, we just bought a new electronic deadbolt for the shop that I'm standing in. For this building, we got an electronic deadbolt. And looking at the electronic deadbolts, which start at about $50 and go to over $300, as they get more expensive and more, I guess, complicated would be the word, they just get more annoying. Like, there's too much stuff. I want push buttons to open the door so I don't have to use a key. That's what it comes down to. Just give me push buttons. And better still, just give me to where I put my code in and the thing unlocks. I don't have to put my code in and then push a button, because that's too many button presses. Servos, it's the same way. We're starting to get up to servos that I think I saw it's either a Reefs or an NSDRC, where they're claiming 60 degree 0.003. That's too fat. 0.03. 0.03. Follow me here. That's too fast. Like 0.09 is kind of as fast as you want to go. 0.10 is plenty fast enough. The SA75 from AGFRC is genuinely, oh, that potato's coming back on me, is genuinely a servo that I classify as too fast. Okay. Van Vessem asks, when you say Blue Case, do you mean the Blue 35 kg, the 3235 Pro? The 3235 Pro is actually a 45 kg servo. And it's put into they have new cases for them now, but when the Pro was first coming out, they were still calling it a 35 kg, and they were selling them in the 35 kg cases. They were just putting a little new sticker on the top. I have one rig running the 3235 Pro, and the problem with the 3235 Pro is they got that speed and power by using less than top end in innards. Electronically, because that servo is power hungry. So I had to fit it to a rig that has a 10 amp standalone BEC, because that servo will eat. That servo eats. So if you're set up for it, like if you're going to run it off of a Fusion Pro or a Fusion SE or anything receiver powered other than like a Rhino 80, it's probably not going to be enough power. That servo eats. It's one of the highest draw servos that I've seen, and you will get some browning out. Yeah, I have the Pro and the SG. The SG is slower and a little weaker, but will place no undue stress on your electronics. Your internal BEC and whatever you use, a Fusion Pro, a Fusion SE can handle the 3235 SG no problem. It's basically like the best RTR servo that never was. If some manufacturer wanted to upset the industry and they started shipping their RTRs with those blue cases just disguised, you wouldn't have to buy a servo. You would just drive it and you'd be like, this is amazing. And then a couple of years later, you'd be like, you know what? I want something fast. And then you would replace it. But you'd still have an excellent servo to build other rigs out of. I used to keep a handful of Amazon Blue cases here and use them for new builds. But they're good enough that there are just rigs running that servo because it's enough. I don't need that repositioning speed to hop the front end over. So most servos are going to give you too much. The blue case Amazon 3235 SG will give you exactly what you need. And at $29.99, I mean, honestly, what's not to like? Ooh. Summertime. Yeah. Oh, pick the Enduro Builders Kit or Axial Base Camp. Oh, test for wind. We should do a build off. Honestly, the Base Camp Builders Kit is the best thing Axial's got right now. That LCXU gearbox. So those who've been here for a while are familiar with basically the size of the Canyon fleet. There is one Axial gearbox in service in the entire fleet. And it is the LCXU from the Base Camp Builders Kit.
So here, now you guys have to eat them.
Don't threaten me. I don't like Axial gearboxes, but I do like the LCXU. See if I can do this all in one fell swoop. Yeah, Shift RC. I've only speaking of the Bronco that we spoke of earlier, it's got a Shift RC servo in it. No complaints. Absolutely no complaints. I tend to opt for Amazon sourced servos first. But that's because I'm cheap and impatient. $60 is like the unofficial cutoff thing that I have, which is like I want to spend $60 on a radio, $60 on a servo, $60 on a motor, $60 because $60 on a set of tires, $60 on a set of wheels and inserts. You know, we can't stop inflation; it's creeping up. Yes, the dig on the LCXU potential hot take might be the best dig there is. And I've got a real deal relevant Holyfield. I've got an actual Vanquish Hertz dig unit on a 3-gear here. And I would say that the LCXU dig is better once you get the servo positioned correctly. And that's because everybody else is using a 3-dog. So it has 3 shaped like a Y that lock into the other thing. And that usually has 6 slots in it. But the LCXU dig has 4 dogs that lock into an 8, an octagon of splines. And this means somewhere the math guy is telling me, so if this one has 3 and this one has 4, does it have 25% more splines or does it have 33% more splines? Does this one have 25% less? Anyway, more spline. What? 4 splines better than 3 splines. I don't think I can phrase it any more accurately than that because the Zocamp. Yeah, I got. We as you know, we settled on Zobazu because it's a Zoku Basecamp Zool. I don't think I'm gonna need it. I gotta make sure that shim. Yeah, no shim in the front. Yeah, wait. I don't want to say that with certainty. Nope. 1 shim in the front. It's staying in there. Okay. Now let us see. Let us see and let us hope and let us see again. If we can get the front to go together without all that hullabaloo. Oh, and 2 fresh housings. 2 fresh housings. So many plastic bags. New minus old divided by old. 4 minus 3, 1 is 33%. Hey! Don't listen. How dare you come into my house and make me learn? I don't want to be. Well, actually, you tricked me into learning, and that's what I like the best. I like a video that tricks me into learning, Bothmalls, I hate to text you with questions, but I was also wondering about radios. How many do we own? Like 40. The RC4GS will do most everything anyone needs in a rock crawler. It's 5 channels. It has cruise control. It has fully programmable buttons. It has built-in throttle curves, steering curves, all the Expo curves, all built in. It has a single and solitary drawback, and that single and solitary drawback is an external antenna. We just allow it. You can set it down this way. You can set it down this way. No, you can't get one of these because for whatever reason, Kimbrough Racing Products has ceased production on the KIM 134 scalped wheel grip. Because if they hadn't, I'd be ordering 20 of them today. This radio goes for about $60. And this is Baseline's radio, so they're usually not this shiny, but it's got a lot of hours on it. And it's been dropped probably half a dozen times. You can also fit a 3800 pack in it, which means you will have to charge that battery once about every 6 months. I see no... except in rare instances, I will get an RC6, because you get 2 more channels, you get 7 channels. But if for most of what you need, like this needs 2. Like it may need 3 if you want to put lights or something on it. Hey, not Bothmalls, it is why I am here. It is why I am here. When people ask questions, what controls on that would you use for a winch? I would forego cruise control. Here's what I would do. I would forego cruise control. See, the way I have cruise control set up on this is you basically sacrifice channel 3. So this button is what I use to initiate cruise control, and then I can control the speed with this knob right here, right? You can turn it all the way down to nothing. You can turn it all the way up to 100%, right? I use it through what's called PMix 01. Instead, I would set PMix 01 up to run a winch. So I would put something on this so that I could clearly see that it was centered, like 3D, this one, I would 3D print myself something like this that looks more like a toggle or a lever, so I would always know where 0 is, and I would set this to this to actuate the winch, and then I would use this to pay the winch out and pay the winch in, because then you can disable the winch and you can center it, so if you accidentally hit the button and turn your winch on, it still won't pay out or pull in. Feed out, pay out, pay in. It won't move because you can zero it out on the VR knob and then turn your winch on and off with here. I have heard people that use switches and stuff will accidentally hit it and their winch will be pulling in and they don't know it and then burn their winch out. There's a guy that might still be in the chat that if I remember correctly, he may have done that during competition. And I understand how that thing would happen because I leave radios on. Oh, by the way, that 3800 that's in that, one time I filmed a video and then I got done with that video and I was tired and I needed to edit and I went in the house and I left Baseline's radio on for 2 days. It was on for 48 hours sitting here in the shed before I came back out to notice, because I don't set them down in the same place. So it was sitting over there. And it was sitting for 48 hours, and it took it down to 7.4 volts. That's like storage voltage. So that's definitely a plus. It was one of those moments where if it had bleeped at me for inactivity, that probably would have been better. But, hey, if it can handle it, it can handle it. Yeah, DF Hades, definitely. PMix 01, I did a video on cruise control. And I think it's called like Cruise Control, New and Updated or something like that. And it shows you how to set up PMix. And you would just do the exact same thing, only you'd be using it to control your winch instead of cruise control. On your cruise control, do you have it working forward and reverses? Yes. Yes. I can show you right here. Turn this guy on. Let's see. Does this blow out? No, you can read that easy. We go to PMix 01. So that is where I have it set. Right? I use lock A so that it locks it on. I guess you could also, if you really don't want to have your winch blow out on you, you could set switch to SWA. So it's momentary. So you have to be holding it to winch. That might even be better. And then master is channel 3 and slave with throttle, but you'd have the slave to be whatever channel your winch is hooked up to. And then I have it, so on baseline, it's set to up 1,000 and down minus 1,000. So this is full throttle. This is also full throttle with nothing in the middle. You set it to up 0 and down 1,000, and then it's just that is forward. And if you turn it back, nothing happens on cruise control. On baseline, because I tend to be driving him one-handed a lot, because I have to move him around all the time. I'm carrying a bucket chair is dangling off my pinky, and I have a tripod under my arm, and I'm getting him from position to position. I just want to be able to bump. What I need is a little paddle on here so I can manipulate the cruise control. But baseline's cruise control gets used more than anybody's cruise control. Is it on the RC4 or RC6 that you have four-wheel steering? I think all of my four-wheel steering rigs, Zoidbergs is right here, are all on RC4s. And not only is it an RC4, he's on a V2. So he's on the really old one. And RoboKitty is also on an RC4. And I want to say Blue Sky High is also on an RC4. But the only difference between the RC4 and the RC6, I can show you exactly, is on Eddie's radio. If you own an RC4, if you already own an RC4, which is what this is, you'll notice Eddie's got the two-tone. I turned Eddie's RC4 into an RC6. You can buy this part with the switches for like $15 on Amazon. And then you just open the radio up, you take the other one off, you plug this one in, and it's an RC6 now. It still says RC4, but when you turn it on, it's an RC6 GS now. So you can just add, the only difference between the 4 and the 6 is the 6 is silver, and it has these switches on it, which I use this one for the overdrive. But that's the only difference. It just adds these two channels. You'll notice on the other one, see the little hollows where the switches would go? Apparently you can add them yourself, but you can also just buy this for $15 and then you've got it. So there's that. So, what was that? Are you able to turn four-wheel steer on and off with the radio link? I don't use mixing. I've never used the four-wheel steer mixing on this because someone early on, when Blue Sky High was the solo four-wheel steer rig I had here, I couldn't get the hang of switching four-wheel steer around. Somebody said you have to do it this way, to where you can control the ends independently, and they are absolutely right. Because this is the only way I recommend to people to do four-wheel steer, where you have full independent control over the rear end. And it's got a little skateboard tape on it for grippy. His isn't the best one. Mixing, I don't like mixing, I think is what it comes down to. People are like, I hope the sign is still flashing because that dude just disappeared. And then I learned, after making a variety of different knobs, so then I built the one for Blue Sky High, and this is the steering wheel off of a FlySky GT5, and I just turned it down on the lathe to make it a little smaller, put skateboard grip tape on it, and because it's super light, I really like this one, and that was my second one. And then for the third one, we just, because Eddie's radio coughed up a wheel, so we just have identical wheels. This one really does feel the best. I left the little rib on the wheel, so there's like a mark of delineation for your finger, and it just looks the best. I mean, Radio Link should sell that. Like, this should be an option. We should be able to buy the RC4 in parentheses 4, the RC44 GS set up for four-wheel steer. It might not be the perfect thing, but I've seen many people using the GT5 with the little, they use either the channel 5 or the channel 6. I can't do it. I've got the Gorilla thumbs, so I can reach here and here with the same thumb. A lot of people can't do that. But I could not get the hang of how do you turn that little knob Y'all GT5 guys, how do you do that? I can't do it. I tried to do it. I can't do it. Thank God for this lemonade. I think I'm powered by lemonade right now. All right. Is it? Yep, there it is. Yeah, it was 2 shims on one side and none on the other. So we're gonna hope and pray the setup of this housing is the exact same. I shouldn't be eating chicken for a while. Let's try to get that on there. All right, now I got to do the thing again. So that would have been like that. And this goes like that. It's very scientific. It always worries me when nothing appears in the chat for like a minute. Mr. Cross from the faraway land of dragons and LC80s says, for months now I've been trying to convince myself that the G7P is a good radio. It was, above all other things, not an improvement over the GT5. And I think an argument could be made that the GT5 isn't really that much of a move forward from the GT3. And I think what tells you that is that you can still buy GT3s. Thumb steer on channel 1 and the right hand is just for rear steer. I actually draw my GT5 one hand almost all the time, even when the front steer only rigs that I have it bound to. Channel 1 and the right hand is just for the rear steer. I'm trying to figure this out. That's my right hand. Oh, I got it. You're doing this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Would you sell one of those knobs? I'm interested. Oh, like what knobs? Have you ever done a winch test? I've one that's just a 25 kg, 360 degree Amazon red case with a spool, and that one's just okay. Just picked up a Reef 89's micro for my bugger, and it's mind-blowing. I have a Reef 99 micro in here, and I tried to install it in Argenum, and it was hitting his drag link. And I was not, under any circumstances, going to redo my front-end suspension geometry to get a winch in it, because I try to convince myself to use a winch and then immediately forget to try to use a winch. Yeah. It came with the rig with the body that everybody loves more than all the bodies that I paint. Not that I'm bitter about that at all. But this is the one that people won't shut up about. Curtis, who just chimed in up there from Visalia up there in the desert. Yeah, that body. That body. If anybody walks in the building and they're like, that body is amazing. I'm like, yeah, that's the one I didn't paint. And it was sent in here by a guy that does paint bodies. And if you want one, you can contact him and you can get one. And my goal in life, and I'm unabashed about it, is my goal in life is to send as many purchase inquiries to Curtis Knudsen as possible, to the point where he literally doesn't have enough time to paint all the bodies, because he did do a fantastic job on it. And I think everyone should just go and buy one, because I don't like painting them. Well, I don't hate painting them. It's just, if I can think of a reason not to paint a body, baby, I will do it. I will do anything else to avoid painting a body. And the number of bodies just keeps backing up. More and more bodies. I just had a discussion in one of the comment back and forths. Last Creations just recommended the Noble NB4, and it might have been with him, but much like the other radios in the same category, I am hard pressed to recommend the Noble NB4 to people, or the Radiolink RC8X, because at the end of the day, we don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need all those channels. We don't need the ultra low latency. We don't need any of it. And we're just paying for extra bells and whistles and giant colorful touchscreens that devour battery. When an RC4 with a 3800 in it will literally run for 6 months between charges. Yeah, painting is not the problem, but all the prep around it, 100%. Because, as you know, as anyone who's painted things will know, painting is 90% prep work. And I have flashbacks of painting all those bodies in one day. When I did 6, I think I did 6 bodies all in one day. That when I finally painted the body for Steve with the stars and stripes, that was a time. I couldn't figure out why anyone would want front dig. Then I was thinking one night, wouldn't it be helpful to spin the rear wheels? Yeah. When I watch Matt's Off-Road Recovery, and he can do front and rear dig in the Morvair, dude knows what he's doing. Like, you watch him do front dig and just scoot the rear end around, and I'm like, I wish we could do that. But I don't know if we honestly have the traction, because if you have a Phoenix, switch that thing into rear wheel drive sometime and try to just drive over anything. Like, you can get stopped by a garden hose. Your front wheels will just go bunk, and then your wheels just go. There are some things that don't 100% physically translate when we move through scale. Is somebody going to bed? Oh, the Sweden guy. Where's he going? Crawler competition tomorrow. Oh, and he's going 5 hours. Oh yeah, because it's deep into the future over there. He's deep in the future. It's barely lunchtime on these parts. Why does it look like the bench has been assaulted by small goblins? We bounce around. I'm just leisurely swapping this around. Well, I mean, okay. So on the topic of a nicer controller, I had a gentleman over here just a few days ago. I have not seen him in the chat today, but I had him over just a couple days ago, and he brought his Futaba 10PX. And yeah, it's absolutely nice. But no. And not gonna happen. I can build 2 rigs for the cost of that radio. And like everything else in life, love it or hate it, there is our good buddy lurking in the background, and he is called the point of diminishing returns. Now, if Team Associated was paying me to race buggies, I would probably not be using Radiolink RC4s. If I was doing 100-mile-an-hour speed run passes in a car that does 100 miles an hour, I would probably not be using one of these. But I never said, I don't think I've ever said that the RC4 GS is the best radio in the world. I said that for rock crawling, anything more than that, or the RC6, if you need the extra little bits, like if you have a Phoenix. I tell people, if you're getting a Phoenix, get an RC6. Anything above that is determinedly in the wants over needs. You don't need it. You do not need it. If you want it, I would never try to stop you from getting it, because we don't need any of it. So if it makes you happy, get that. Do you still use your RC8X? I just used it this morning. How much time do I have on it? Far less time than I do on the RC4s, because for one reason, and that reason is this right here. You ever see how flat they are? See that right there? The gap right here, I can, if I do it just right, I can get my thumb stuck. That's why. This edge right here, look at that edge. Look at that edge. Whereas these, look at that edge. See the little roundy downdy? It's perfect. It's perfect. So, take a little bit. I'm a little bit of a banana hander. So I literally have my thumb clocked further back, so I kind of hold it out on my fingertips, and it's just not as comfortable to use for long periods of time. So this is our Jennings radio. It's a fantastic radio. We don't need it. If you want one, go get one. Wait till like Cyber Monday or Black Friday or something. They'll probably go on sale again from Radiolink. But I'm not overwhelmed with the need to get another one. Yeah. Andy Yates got his 10PX for $100 off on Black Friday. $100 off on Black Friday. They were selling these for $50. And I still said, and I know Andy Yates does a bunch of racing, and in that world, under those scenarios, you can and will notice latency issues. So, like I said, I don't think I've ever said it's the best radio in the world, but it's $60. If the Radiomaster MT12 had gyro receivers, I would switch in a heartbeat. You can pair any Radiolink receiver to a MT12. I have a bunch of RC6FGs compared to mine. So you could absolutely have a gyro with your MT12. Or FlySky receivers. I don't know what the controls are in there because, like I've said, I have no desire to learn Edge TX. I'm past that phase of life. Oh. I don't know what a knock is, but Brurb sent 50 of them, and now I feel like I'm going to have to eat a damn salty licorice fish because I almost feel obligated at this point. I'm not going to like it. Tell you already, I'm not going to like it. And now, what we have to try to do, this is the fun part. Because there are no marks on the axle, I now have to try to get the C-hubs on here clocked the same way with the amount of caster that I want. I mean, I would never argue that if I was going to race again, which I'm not, the small amount of competitive impulse that I had in me is effectively dead now. I would just pull one of my MT4s out and use that for racing. Norwegian Krona. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening. But I cannot get this C-hub to go on all the way. Let's try the other side. I'm having a grand old time. But that's not the super fast ELRS. I would be using it for a sport a bit faster than what we said. Yeah. Racing is, I think I would go so far as to say antithetical to crawling. Even when we're talking about competitive crawling, racing is a whole different thing. This C-hub, here's what I'm getting. I can't see the fluting sticking out. I cannot get these. I'm going to have to take them apart. I was Corona? I was told I took in my collegiate days, I took a linguistics class just because I'm kind of interested in those things. And my my linguistics professor said that I had a fairly remarkable ability. That's why I can't get them on, because we forgot. I forgot. You forgot. All of us forgot. Nobody yelled O-ring. So in the front axle of an SE, there's no inner bearing. They just put one of these rubber O-rings so that the axle doesn't fill with gloop. And it should still be in there. There he is, right down there, little red buddy. Little buddy down there. So now I don't have to take that one apart. But I've got to try to get... yeah, that's about right. We're going to go with that. And I realize I didn't show you anything. We're going to go with that. I would never do comp crawling because, in the words of the Joker, I'm a dog chasing cars. The beauty of going slow is you can compete with yourself, and there's nobody better to compete with. Ah, yes, 8 hours spent to race toy cars for 40 minutes. The last time I was racing, okay, tell that Norwegian kid I still have one chicken. It's cold now, but I'm going to eat it before I ruin my mouth with salted licorice. So he's just going to have to wait. These kids, yeah. So when I was doing racing, the batteries of the day were 4-minute mains. 4-minute mains. And in qualifying, you have to do... Oh, yes, watching RC racing is better than doing it, as far as I'm concerned. But watching RC crawling, I like comps. I watch the ones of dudes I know. There's like I can relate. Whenever JP Wirt sends one, I watch those. Mostly because I want to see what the course layouts look like. That's what I want to see most of all. Because I want to know, am I making my stuff cost-saving measures? Cost-saving measures! I want to know if I'm making my stuff too hard or too easy. Slip one of those sweets into his food. Listen, if somebody tries to put licorice in my chicken, I'm going to notice. I'm not dead. Yeah, unfortunately, that UPS delivery, one of those boxes is cat food, so they can't all be winners. It's gonna get me again. I'm trying to be lazy, and oh no, I got it. Did I get it to line up though? You know what? If I didn't, it is hand grenades. It is close enough. Yeah, 2,000 milliamp sorcery. I think the first cells we were building were 1,200 packs. 8 hours. I've spent months building 2 new TLRs and haven't even tested them yet. Yeah, racing was one of those things where, okay, follow me. Paintball was very similar in this realm, in that the amount of time you spent wrenching and tweaking and tuning versus the amount of time you spent actually doing it was almost like, if they condense an American football game down to the amount of time when play is actually taking place, a football game is like 9 minutes long or 11 minutes long, something like that. Paintball and RC racing, real world racing, when we were real world racing, we would leave the house at 8 o'clock in the morning. We would usually get home at 1 a.m. We would have 2 rounds of qualifying. We would have a heat, usually a second heat, and a main. The car would be on the track going in fast circles for maybe 30 to 35 minutes out of a 16-hour day. That's paintball. That's RC racing. That's real world racing. Rock crawling, if your stuff doesn't break, You could literally go outside and drive all day long until you don't want to do it anymore, until you're like, you know what? I want to sit down and watch sitcoms that I've watched before. Could never get into Futaba. Yeah, you can either pay your mortgage or you can get a Futaba. I've had one Futaba radio in my life, and it was a Magnum Sport. So it goes back a little ways. And then our local hobby shop got in an Airtronics XL2P, which was the first Airtronics that I ever bought. And lo and behold, I was a Sanwa man. And if Sanwa still existed as they used to, and if they were still making radios on par with like the M8 and the M11, I would still be buying Sanwa. There's one new-ish, like modern era Sanwa in here, an MX6, because I had originally bought it for Jolly Green. The first aftermarket radio I bought when I got back into crawling, and Sanwa ain't Sanwa anymore, and it's a bummer. It's a bummerama. We still have a bunch of MX3X and MT4s, old MT4s, and they work great. And yeah, Jeff at the Temple just said CS2P. There's a CS2P if you were to go in a straight line, less than 4 feet, right over there. There's a CS2P in a box. FM, I believe. An FM CS2P. Yeah, good stuff, man. Sanwa, the jam. Okay, we're not gonna get too big in our britches here and bolt this down and grease. Oh, look at that. The Magnum Sport and Junior were poor kids radios back then. Yeah, I want to say that now, mind you, this is the 80s. But I want to say that my Magnum Sport was maybe $69, $69.99, which, you know, for a dude that made $5 mowing the lawns, $69.99 was a lot, was a real lot. But this is the same guy that I was driving a Kyosho Ultima, because there's no way I could have afforded an RC10, Gold Pan RC10, which is what I really wanted. We only had one guy on the block that had an Associated. There was a lot of Kyosho and a lot of Tamiya in the neighborhood, rocking the 1200s and the twist chargers. Making my list, and the last thing I have is the rim tire beadlock question. For economy and for starting out, go on Amazon. And they're sold by Mix Racing by any number of sellers. And they are not this, but their tread pattern looks just like this. And on the sidewall right here, they say Mix Racing Crawler Tire in some horrific fonts. They're usually about $26, $27 a set. You get those tires, you get yourself the cheapest set of beadlocks that you can find. Probably something that looks like this, something a Method 105, they'll be usually about $30. And then you just run them as they are, and you can assemble inserts. You can build up Canyon custom inserts like this. My recommendation to you would be to just get some of these because they are tunable. This one is too stiff, so you can just cut ribs out with a pair of scissors and tune them to fit the final weight of your rig. And they're all over Amazon right now. I've seen them as low as $16 a set of 4. And that will get you into a set of wheels, tires, and inserts that you don't need to change because they're alloy wheels, good inserts, and a tire that is virtually indistinguishable from a real Tusk. And you'll be all in for $80, $70 to $80. Yeah, Injora has a 40% discount right now, and they love to do that because they know I don't get paid for 9 days. We keep pooping on the cheaper radios, but a FlySky radio and a Dumbo RC. Yeah. I pay $15 for receivers for Radiolink, or I can opt to spend an additional. Is it in here or did I use it? Yeah. On Amazon, $17.99 will get you this receiver. If you can't find a place to fit that receiver, I guess you need to build something bigger. And it's conformally coated, so they're waterproof. And look at that tiny little antenna on there. Yeah. R4 FGMs. The one drawback being that it's 4 channels, but most of us aren't even using 4 channels. I use 4 channels on all 3 of these radios. Channel 1 is this. Channel 2. Channel 3. No, these are 3 channel. Channel 3. Because I can't have the cruise control the way I want it and 4-wheel steer at the same time. So most of my radios are only using 3 of 5 channels. So, you put a lighting controller on it and you put some lights on it. Tell that Norwegian kid I've got 3 bites of chicken strip left. Maybe 2. I don't know. I should have eaten a while ago, but then I realized it was noon. What was I doing? Oh, right. I was putting this axle together. I just greased it. Once upon a time, I had a dream that the light counter on the screen was up above 100. So, I don't know. I don't know how much people follow the comments, particularly comments that they're not involved in. I don't know how many out there just don't get involved in the comments at all. But I got into a fun time. Let's call it a fun time. I got into a fun time with the guy in the comments last night who told me that my servo tests are wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Your math is wrong. You're stupid, and you should be sad because you're dumb. And I know, so I argued back because I know that I'm not wrong, because I basically stole my whole testing protocol from Francis over at RC Review. I saw the way he had a tester, had a servo tester set up, and I was like, I can do this exact thing. I'm just going to do that exact thing. So I did that exact thing, and the guy was arguing that my math was off. And here's the thing: I don't think it's a secret. YouTube doesn't differentiate. YouTube is a place where there is no good and there is no evil. There are what they call POE, points of engagement. Every time one of y'all's posts a comment in the chat, or posts a comment on a video, or gives a thumb up or a thumbs down, or whatever you give, that is called a point of engagement. YouTube doesn't care what they are. It doesn't differentiate between them. It just recognizes these points of engagement. So if somebody says something to me like the other comment that I read this morning, a guy said, he referred to what I do as backyard BS, and I kind of love that. I think I need to wood burn it into a thing, because we've got Welcome Back to Canyon, Crawler Canyon 2020, and the splash logo says Crawler Canyon established 2020. I need to make another one that says Crawler Canyon backyard BS since 2020, or bringing you backyard BS since 2020. So no one, and my wife has tried, no one will be able to stop me from engaging with these people. I will engage. And my goal is to get them to keep posting, because every time they post, that's another point of engagement. Or as the internet security expert Thor, the guy from Pirate Software, would say, I farm you twice. So the dude that claims that I don't know how to test servos commented 7 times. 7. In one of those comments, he said, I don't even really care. And I was like, brother, if you don't care, you click the little button up in the corner of the tab that closes that tab. You don't comment 7 times. Derek Cataract, you're 100% right. Who needs defense when you can get attack? The best defense is a good offense. Yes, Thor is great. So much, and this is a big word. This is a strong, so much wisdom comes out of that guy that you would think he was 80 years old. This is not a worthless post. It is a point of engagement. 100%. Is that going to fit? Yeah, that looks good. Or does it? Oh, I got a caster flip. I get a caster flip. It's not a problem. It's only Gares, here's the deal. It's only a problem if you acknowledge that it's a problem. There is a great strength in denial. We don't have a problem because we could quit anytime we want. But mama didn't raise no quitter. Yeah. As long as you're not spending the money for your kids' clothes on toy cars or the rent on toy cars, it's genuinely not a problem because my buddy and I were eating bottomless soup and salad at the Chili's yesterday. So naturally, what do you do when you're eating bottomless soup and salad at the Chili's? You look up the leading causes of mortality in the United States by year. And the leading cause of mortality in the United States is, it's heart disease. It's heart disease by a lot. By a lot. And then in second place, it's cancer by a lot. Third place, so first place is here, second place is here, and third place is down under the bench down here. Third place, poisoning. And I was like, what? Who's dying of poisoning? Is there like a spate of like Clue-style murders going on in mansions where people are getting poisoned? And then down at the bottom, the little fine print is all, it's fentanyl. It's always fentanyl. Because if you die of an acute drug overdose, you've been poisoned. So that's where all the poisoning deaths come from. So every time you sit down and you buy shiny things for your toy cars, or you buy a new shiny car, which will enable you to buy more shiny things for your new toy car, just sit and you tell yourself, I didn't buy fentanyl. And then, I think they call that rationalizing. That's a solid rationalization, because we could all be buying fentanyl. I think I have a suitable amount of caster flip. If the pinion is straight, we're gonna get that flop over wheel angle. I feel like, are we hitting the stops? Yeah, we're hitting the stops. I didn't grind baseline stops. Oh, baseline he had to go to brass C-hubs after we stripped his C-hubs out so many times. So I might have to nip those little dibblers off there because, we'll see. We'll give him a run. I'm upset that in the last 8 months, with all new stuff coming out, that the prices have gone up in some things about 100%. Oh, totally. You said, I can't recall. I don't know if you've said, but that is spoken like a Californian. I had to buy, I think I lamented this, I had to buy 3-inch deck screws to put the building together. A 25-pound box of deck screws was $50 in 2021 when I built the garden shed to park the mower in. That same box of deck screws is now $120 for the exact same thing. And that is the world today. It's always cheaper than a bass boat, and cheaper than golf too. I'm pretty sure that rock crawling is still cheaper than golf, because no matter where you're crawling it, I don't think there's any greens fees. I see you. I see you over there. All right. Tell that Norwegian kid I'm eating the last of my chicken. And I've been drinking lemonade. So I'm going to put salty licorice on top of it. It's going to be awful. I'm not ready. That is good lemonade, though. I tell you what. All right. let's get this slibbity slapped on here. I seem to have the gremlins came in here and they just threw a bunch of screws. I've got a lot of extra screws. But we've also got, I think they're 5 by 13 by 5 inner pinion bearing. When did outboard motors start costing more than a car? I mean, if you really want to feel mad and or sad or a combination of the two, we can go into an endless rant about used car prices or housing costs. I watched a thing. I think it was a Instagram reel where a guy was talking about his house that he lives in today. If he had bought it 1 year after he'd bought it, he wouldn't be able to afford it because the interest rates rose so much. His house payment would be like 60% larger than it is now. But everything's fine. I haven't heard any hit the bench, so if he's been throwing screws over here, I haven't heard it. Can't rule it out though.
I have not.
He claims innocence. I am going to put 12% in this as well because I have a drawer full of extra bits for Element axles and gearboxes and everything else. I'm going to make an effort to make minimal changes, but had the thumb up thing on a video. Oh, like, I do it on accident. Like I go like that, and if you hold it long enough, it does that. I was trying to do the other ones. Wait, can I remember balloons? Was it this? Was this balloons? Yeah, buddy. I want to make the fireworks, but it's like a two-hand thing, and I think we kind of came to the conclusion that it's for like forward-facing. Like if you do it, like if you do it in front of it, like the camera's looking. Like, see, we get a parallax thing, and I can't do it because I'm over here and you're over there. This is is it that awesome spider skeleton? He's right over here. He's always here. He's lurking. No, this is I have not opened any more bags. I needed to take a day off from building the spider after the experience of the off of the spider after the axles and the gearbox were traumatizing. I wasn't ready. Like, look at that. Ooh, smooth. And I couldn't get the mesh right. Amazon Prime was giving away man. I might have to buy a Gmade just to get the stickers. Like as I pointed out, like let's see if we can put this in the camera right. Like, look at that little guy. Look at him. Look at he's like levitating his screwdriver. He's adorable. No, like why does it have bone legs? I don't know if that was supposed to be intentionally horrifying, but that's definitely where they landed. $113 Gibbler bytes for Fallout 76. I was one of the fortunate / unfortunate souls that I played Fallout 76 when it first came out. And it was, shall we say, less than stable. And by the time they had come out with all the updates and improvements, I had moved on. It was the same thing with Diablo 4. By the time they came out with new content, I was already playing something else. I just finished The Ascent. It was free in the PlayStation in the library, and I really enjoyed it. It was a little short, but to quote that one guy, what do you want for nothing? That drive shaft is too long. You can tell. New Vegas, yes. Fallout 76 killed my love for Fallout. It wasn't that bad. I mean, you have to think about what they tried to do. They took RPG and they tried to turn it into an MMO. And apparently now, my son, my eldest, tells me that now 76 is a completely different game than it was when it came out. And I've heard the same about No Man's Sky, but I had the misfortune of playing No Man's Sky when it first came out, and it was not great. Oh, so the drive shaft slider that comes with, for the front, there's the front, and here's the front that I just grabbed that's an Element aluminum one, and you see that length discrepancy right there? It's just that much too long. The suspension won't collapse all the way. So if you ever notice that your suspension isn't compressing all the way in one direction, that's probably why. You've made some sort of a change, and now it won't compress all the way. There's two of the same length, so one of those must be baselines. It never even went on the rocks, so what I'm going to have to do, because I think I only have longer ones, yeah, I'm going to have to cut one of these down. So we're just not going to, we're going to do this. We're going to stick it in here. I'm speaking of racing sims. I was a Gran Turismo man for years and years and years. I think I have every one of them up through GT Sport. I don't have GT7 because the problem is you get really pulled in, and then the next thing you know, you're doing like 8-hour endurance races. And then when you get done with your 8-hour endurance race, you ask yourself the unanswerable question, which is, what did I just do? Why have I done this? Like, there's no my gaming nowadays is, I've got some time, some wind down time, and I will sit down and play a video game for 20 minutes. Not all day. And Gran Turismo will suck me in like a vacuum, and I will play it all day. Instead, I lost jobs because of Gran Turismo 2. I can genuinely believe that. GT2 was the one. I used to do online racing in Gran Turismo 2, and that far predates Gran Turismo as an online. There was no online component. It was gentleman's rules, where you took down your times and you did your qualifying and you listed your car setup and everything, and everybody submitted their times. And we did online racing, and we built like race series that we did specific tracks on specific days, and you had to submit your times. And it was genuinely far more laid back. We raced a series where there was a time limitation, where like you had 1 hour. You were supposed, and in gentleman's rules, you had an hour to do that race. So you could spend as much time as you wanted in that hour, setup, tuning, testing, doing practice laps, and then you ran your hot laps, and then you submitted your times. And it was a blast. And some of the European dudes, why are those dudes always so fast? They would post videos. They would put up little videos via like email. They would like email you a screen cap video of them driving, and it was like watching robots. You're like, how are they so good? How are they so good? And they're just good. And then I remembered, oh right, the lack of a competitive nature has reared its head again. I was pretty good at front wheel drive though. Front wheel drive. Mitsubishi FTO. Mitsubishi FTO was my guy. I could actually get up into at least into the top 10 in my FTO. And what was the Mazda Demio, the little toaster. I was pretty good in a Mazda Demio too. But if you put too much power in it, I would use too much power, and I would boof it every time. Yeah, that must have been before you could credit card yourself the best car possible. Yeah, it absolutely was. Yeah, you had to. There were some cars that could only be unlocked by like getting all golds on the license tests, which the kids today they don't know. They really don't. I think that an element of the modern driver's test in the real world should be you have to take Gran Turismo 2 driver's license tests, which were some of the hardest things that I've ever done in any game ever. They were like 80s level difficulty. You'd be like, that was the best I've ever done, and you still miss it by like 0.3 of a second. Yeah, that's the Gran Turismo license test. Oh man, the Cusco Subaru. Also the what was it? The Gillette Vertigo. Gillette Vertigo race trim. I have got in my garage from that Gran Turismo. I had a Gillette Vertigo race car with over 50,000 kilometers on it. That was my if an endurance event would allow racing bodied vehicles, Gillette Vertigo all day. So good. It was so good. I almost forgot that the Stealth XF, I can do the gears without taking any of the bottom end apart. Man, there's you know what there are on this bench? A lot of screws. Oh yeah, TVR Cerberus. Like that was like trying to ride a bucking bronco or one of those it was like going to the rodeo. That TVR would that was a tail happy motor vehicle. Did I miss one? I always miss one. Motion at the carport. Motion at the carport. It's too bright. It's too washed out. I can't see what it is. I think the wife said she was leaving around 2, so it might be the wife. And there's the insides of an XF. I had I got a wheel like right around COVID, and I think it's the too much time thing. I think it's like why I can't do real reverse on a 1080 G2, because reverse is this motion. So I'm so used to driving like this that when I try to do it on the wheel, I'm pretty bad. And trying to break that muscle memory is, let's be honest, I don't know if I have the gumption to do it. Number 18 on Nürburgring out of 3 million. That's pretty fast. Oh yeah, Mazda 767. Nice. Now it makes me want to fire up GT Sport and waste a couple hours. Oh, I think I have it. I think I have what I need. Look at that. Pre-assembled and greasy. Oh, that's what I do. Well, okay. Oh, no, I do have it. All right. No, we're good. I'm having 2 conversations in my head at the same time. Why don't more vehicles come with an XF gearbox? I got all my car knowledge from it. I genuinely learned about tuning sway bars from setting up cars in Gran Turismo. 100%. Do they give you, does it have 2 holes in it? It does. Okay, nice. It's just the same, it's the same dealio. But we've got, this should be a 2852, and then the other one, that's very greasy. Well, what we do is we hoard parts. Now, what I'm trying to recall now is, okay, is this the 52? Please let this be the 52. I don't think you need to flip the shaft. I'm hoping I don't need to flip the shaft. Because if I have to flip the shaft, I have to take the whole top end of the gearbox apart. And honestly, I would rather not. That should go in just like that. So put that in there. I hope that's 12%. I think that's 12%. I think this is, I want to say that's Blue Sky High's gears. They were in Blue Sky High. Is there going to be a mail time this stream? Oh, I don't know if, I don't think the mailman has come today. It's not hoarding, it's saving things in case you ever need them. Yes, and a near constant just life of negative reinforcement, which is whenever I get rid of something that I've been holding on to, I suddenly need that thing. And then I'm like, if only I had kept that thing, I would have had that thing to have that I needed. So that should go right like that, I think. Methinks. What's going on? Why is that not dropping in? What's going on? Oh. That's the wrong size bearing, you dummy. Helps to use the right pieces. Did you get my package? Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, I did. If your package contained this, then yes, I did. Then yes, I did. People are not going to give up until I start using winches. And I'm trying. See, now don't tease me with non-existent dragon eggs. Because I know that thing, it said piggy ship on it, which means it came directly from AliExpress, which means I know that there's not a dragon in it because they don't deal in dragons over there. They should, but they don't. And yeah, this should just slapple-dapple, just like that. And just like that, all you need to do is have like, I don't know, like $50 in parts laying around, and you too can just slap underdrive in there. Here's the thing. Here's the beauty. The beauty of the sales model that Element is using. If you buy an SE and you want to put the underdrive gears in it, it's genuinely almost cheaper to just buy the XF kit just to take the gears out of that. But then you have spare parts. Because I have built one of the XFs here out of, the one that's in Missing Link was just built out of pieces. And that is not the economical way to do it. Don't do it that way. The dragon may have hatched on the way over. I mean, that's possible. My uncle breeds them. Of course he does. It's New Zealand. It's where dragons come from, and we all know it. I don't understand the basis of the I'm gonna need a second set of rear inner fender wells. Yeah. I should honestly, Mr. Stevens, I should probably put the fender wells on this. Because this is getting the hard body. They are, as a matter of fact, they're right here. They were right there, just lurking out of frame. Oh, that's right, Norway with the trolls. Troll, that was a pretty good movie. Oh. Having a good time. Now I gotta find the motor screws that I have misplaced. Yeah, so this is a brushless motor, and it has about the same resistance as a Reedy, but there's no brushes. So it's not supposed to have a ton of resistance. I can't find. Yeah, we'll just use these. Just use these. The little baseline, no, the LC70 is too nice. This baseline's brother from the same mother is getting a Bronco, and I will not be able to fit the Bronco, at least not today, because I don't know what to. I don't know how I'm going to affix it. I'm hoping that it just, at the very least, just cooperates with the bumpers, which are eventually going to break, and then will have to be repaired, as is the case with every one of these bumpers. With a 1200, we like a 22. There's a 26. There's a 25. There's a 22. We're going to put this 22 in for setup purposes because it's a ProTech, and I don't really like these. Yeah, the Bronco hardbody is tough to pass up because they're like $100. Horses are drivable. If not, it's you or your rig. I think that it comes down to you or your rig most of the time with us. Now we've got the Norwegian guy with his trolls. And we've got the New Zealand guy. We've got trolls and dragons. Yes. You probably can get them on AliExpress for 60 to 70 bucks. But we have this thing over here in the Americas, which is expedited shipping via Amazon. So you can save an X amount of dollars. I'm getting me mesh set. You can save X amount of dollars and order on AliExpress and get it in 3 weeks to a month. I think the longest I've had to wait on something from AliExpress is about 5 weeks. And we had this in 48 hours. So it's this one. We'll take a gander. We'll see how the length lines up with the bumpers. It's a big old thing with all of the chromes. And there were 2 versions. Apparently the old version, the windows are all one big piece that just goes into the top. And then the new version, the windows are separate pieces. Yeah, there's the windshield and the back window, and there's all the side windows, and there's the stickers, there's the tiny bag of screws. And the goal for this is, I'm more likely than not, we're just going to leave it white. It'll just be white. Let's see how we're looking. Oh, yeah. Oh, it is heavy. Yeah, look at that. So we'll have to re-maneuver the rear bumper a little bit to get that to clear a little bit. Probably just tuck it in because this has the fakey chrome bumper. And surprisingly, I mean, maybe it's closer if the body's anchored down. But this on the 12.8, that looked proper close. Yeah, it's a little far back. far back. But no, it should be great. And not not grotesquely heavy. I would classify the Scottsdale as grotesquely heavy at 3 pounds. Yeah, somebody was asking Hobbywing, something about Hobbywing. Yeah, I was talking to someone about why Hobbywing is probably never going to dip their toes into Outrunners. Because they already sell the Fusion Pro. And the Fusion Pro is like their flagship crawler thing. And it's $150. You can get any Rhino setup you want for about $100, between $100 and $120. I can't see Hobbywing coming out with an Outrunner system to put directly in competition with the Fusion Pro. Like, why would you do that? You'd kind of be undercutting your own thing. So I would not anticipate to see an Outrunner setup from Hobbywing. And as someone else had alluded to, that they're going heavy into racing. Yeah, I'm so out of touch with racing. My neighbor is a truggy race guy. And he says, yeah, he's like, nobody even races for, he goes like, all the big guys left Tekin and left all those companies, and they're all just Hobbywing now. It's all Mach 6 stuff. So Hobbywing is, we're lucky that we can get this, because Hobbywing is, at least in my mind, it appears that they're setting their sights more on the racing side. I have no, I mean, it's so funny. When we were doing the Slash stuff, which was now years ago, we would order from AMain occasionally, because this was still, I think this was right around the time that Horizon was buying Tower, was buying Great Plains. So Tower was the joint. We spent money at Tower. And Tower Hobbies, again, we're talking about olden times, so we're talking about something akin to the glory days. Apparently there's a package on the porch. Somebody got a delivery confirmation. I remember when I bought my SC8, when I bought my SC8.2E from Tower, there was a $300 off coupon. $300 coupon. We're never gonna see that again. Rhino Crawler is what I went to on the Anesthesia. Would a Fusion be Pro and better in a VRD Carbon, or stick with the super light and small Rhino setup? I know a lot of people will go say super light, but follow me here. The VRD and the Phoenix and anything that's fitted with a VFD or a twin, the motor is absolutely as low as you can get it. So when you remove a Fusion from a Phoenix and put an Outrunner in it, you can tell the difference. It is not as planted stable as it was when it had a Fusion in it, because that Fusion is not super light. It's not grotesquely heavy, but like on this, that's pretty low. But you have to remember, on a VRD, it's down here. So it's basically like people will spend money to add brass and put it down low, but on a VRD, you can just get a Fusion Pro and put the weight down low. I mean, Argenum is a Phoenix and runs a Fusion Pro. Eddie is a Phoenix and runs a Fusion SE. Tranquish runs a Fusion SE. Yeah, I put Fusions in my VFDs and VRD, and VFDs and VFD twins. And when my next rig gets built with the VFD that's in the drawer down here, it's going to get a Fusion in it as well. It just, Yeah, I was running my Outrunner and an SE, but I wanted to play in the water, so I got a Fusion Pro with it. The Fusion Pro is tough to beat because it is truly set it and forget it. You never really have to. I haven't touched the settings on the one in Argentum since I put it in. These things you were saying make sense. What is the best counter-rotating gearbox around 50 quid? They're all kind of a what I've been looking for. So the gearbox that I used in the Raptor build and the gearbox that's in Clank are the Benedict Harry / QT / this guy / that guy, that is a 2-speed with the counter-rotating shaft in the front. So it has both. So you can have it conventional or you can have it reversed. But it's a 2-speed, which is fine. I use the 2-speed in both of the applications. But I want that gearbox without the 2-speed. So, like, the Charisma ATT box is not a 2-speed, but has the counter-rotating. And it's fair. It's okay as a gearbox. So, I mean, I guess I would have to say that Amazon box, the Benedict Harry / QT / whatever they are, they're great, and they're very stoutly built, and they actually do come greased up. I didn't have to take. I took one of them apart. I didn't even bother to take the other one apart. They're greased on the inside. They're quiet, and they're usually typically about between $50 and $60 on Amazon, which I don't know what the pound conversion is nowadays. But yeah, it's a really good box. I'm scrolling through my head to try to think of, like, in terms of OE, who's making a reverse rotation, shafts rotating opposite directions. Who's making that gearbox in OE? And the ATT or ATAC or whatever they call it, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, I didn't see anything
Nothing?
or feel anything out there.
The guy says it was next to the WD-40.
There's no WD-40 out there. Is there? Did you look in front of the house or in the carport?
I looked at both.
You have a package next to the WD-40 on your porch. Wonder who that got delivered to. Ooh, 380 Fusion would be interesting. Sometimes I forget that I'm talking to a group of people. Da-da-da. Yeah, I think I've answered it. All right, what do I have? Do I have? Okay, I have. Here's my fallback. I haven't finished my Texas toast, so that is what I will use to save myself. My buddy went into the house and he retrieved it. I hope that Norwegian kid is still awake, because I realize it's probably almost Saturday over there. There it is. Med smak av lakris. Pulverpadder. I don't like this. I don't like this. It's got lakrismak in it. Oh God, they look terrible. Oh, really? So that's a fish? It looks okay. No, it's a frog. Is it a frog? Oh. Napster, did I get the Reedy motor and ESC I sent you? Most likely, yes. Most likely, yes. The box is filling up. I don't know why I'm smelling it. It smells very mechanical. I don't know what that smell is. It's a frog / toad. It looks like an animal turd. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that it doesn't. It does look a bit like a poop. All right. I mean, you're all just here for the audio to hear what it sounds. Oh, you're gonna eat one too?
I'll try one too.
All right. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do this. You're gonna have to reach. Look at there. There it is. He's getting a frog toad. Oh man. Don't smell it. They smell weird. Apparently, it's an owl pellet.
I can see that. Doesn't smell like one though.
No.
Salty as shit though. Good God.
Oh, they're crunchy. Oh! I can hack it. I can hack it. It's like the ocean. It's like licorice threw up in the ocean.
Pretty much.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm trying so hard not to spit it out. I'm not kidding. It's so salty. It's so salty. I basically grew up in the ocean, and this is the saltiest thing ever. Oh. I did not see the crunchiness coming. Here's the deal. Oh, it really starts to taste medicinal when it gets to the end.
Oh yeah.
Was I not supposed to bite down on it? Oh my God. Oh my God, I almost grabbed the lemonade. It's so salty. Holy crap. Oh, it gets stuck in your teeth real bad. Real bad.
Can of Raid, but I didn't see any other cans.
Oh. Wow. Oh. All right. He ate one. Oh. My God. Finish the bag. A man should never utter, "It's so salty." I didn't mutter it. I yelled it. That was the saltiest thing I've ever put in my mouth. Ever. Salt is not that salty.
Well, when it mixes with licorice, it's kind of good.
Oh, God. Well, the blind benefactor over there, the guy behind builds such as Diablo and GFO, he has referred to it as kind of good. So they won't go to waste. The bread. The bread really cuts it. The bread. This salty bread really cuts into the saltiness of the pulver powder. My God. So am I to believe that little thing that looks like a dip thing is saltier than that? Because if a gentleman from Norway says yes, then I'm tempted to go in the house and get that and try it. Because I cannot conceive of anything saltier than that. Like I said, I don't like licorice. I barely tasted licorice until the salt started to wear off at the end. And then when the salt started to wear off, then I got that like medicinal tinge of the licorice. Are you after more?
More, please.
Look it. You haven't tried Marmite. No. Marmite is not a thing here. I think we fled because what's the so Marmite is down there. Vegemite is the other one, right? You need to put it on a sweet bread with non-salted butter like caviar. That's not the saltiest, no. My God. My God. He sent one that looked just like a Kit Kat and also tasted just like a Kit Kat. I like that one. I like a Kit Kat. I like salted caramels. But man, I feel like I came out of that different. Like I've been changed now. I feel like I can also still taste it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Man, that really sticks with you. So, to give you an idea, I uncapped this. I think I just drank the ocean because to wash the salt down, am I just drinking saline at this point? Woo!
That last one wasn't as licorice.
Just salty?
That one was just salty, like a chemical taste.
Now this works a lot better than just plain water.
I have all the electrolytes I need after eating the saltiest licorice in the world.
Yes.
Humana mumana. Whew. I have to have another receiver. I think I have another receiver. We should... Oh! I gotta find a panhard mount. Before I find a panhard mount, we should housekeep a little bit. A little bit. Oh my goodness. I feel kind of sweaty. The next snack will be something that is very sour. Just be glad he didn't send you that rotten fish stuff they ate. Surströmming? Is that Norwegian? Icelandish? Icelandic?
Scandinavian.
Swedish? Hopefully it's not one of the things that you burp and taste for hours. Oh my God. From your lips to God's ears. Crush that and spread it on a margarita glass. With what's the liquor that tastes like licorice? Oh yeah.
I've never had Jaeger. Sambuca.
So get a Jägermeister margarita with salmiak on the rim of the glass. The pulver potteriest thing, lutefisk. Let's see. Okay, now this is what I didn't plan ahead far enough for. Oh, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, mac and cheesy. The SenseCam, the underperforming SenseCam. Easy, boom, bam. Choice was made for me.
Oh yeah. Another donation.
Ooh, Dinamite. Must be Italian. Now we find Element Bin,
I think that was the merciful four-wheel drive.
and we hope that somewhere deep in the loins of the Element Bin, yeah, absinthe is also. But man, I don't drink. I'm sure I've mentioned, but if I did, like, just give me the good stuff, right? Give me the old absinthe, like the illegal one, Essence of Wormwood, the one that makes you hallucinate. Because like they say that if you're drunk, it makes you more of your real self or whatever. I don't know how much I believe that or prescribe to that, but I don't want to be my real self. I want to see impossible things. Which is, kids, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Buy RC cars, then you won't have any money for drugs. That's an old racing joke, but it applies here as well. Okay, I had found the lower part of a panhard mount, and it squirted from my fingers. Now I must find it again. There it is. Okay. Now I need to find the other piece. And I know that I have deleted panhard mounts on enough of these that I should have one. Just hoping. I never plan ahead. Planning ahead requires planning. Oh, I would like to do... Oh. Maybe. I don't... Okay. This is a test guy, right? Yeah. I think we've kind of agreed. I know it seems like a sacrilege to just drill holes into an ABS body. but part of me just wants to drill holes in that ABS. I can just put a tall body mount on it, and Bosch, we're done. I might do. Now the concern has welled up in me that I don't have the top plate of the. Ooh. I can. There's the. Okay. All right. I can only find one. Have you noticed there's very little chat about Red Cat Fusion now on its FB group? I was banned from it and the chatter slowed so very much. Well, yes. A thing that is true is that if you silence dissent, what is going to happen is there's going to be a lot less people posting. Because nobody, if you're just going into a pure echo chamber where it's just people saying the same things, it's gonna peter out really quickly. We're gonna go as lazy as we can. I don't really like these, but there's a 2-piece contraption that is on like the Ecto and vehicles like that. There's a little piece that it goes around the bottom of the shock tower right here, and I probably have one, maybe. One more bin grab, and if I don't see it, I'm just automatically going to take the other one. I don't see it. Okay. Now, I can fabricate one pretty easily. I can't fabricate one right now. Couldn't you make some donuts that you could stick to the inside of the body of the Harmonic could fit into? Oh, dude, like kind of like a clipless, like an economy Traxxas clipless. Well, the other option would be going like Jenny's and get some Traxxas clipless, modify these mounts, and just like E6000 them inside the hard body and just go clink. So yeah, okay.
On A-Main, there's a clipless mount system you can buy for the front and back.
Because if there's something relatively simple to prevent me from I had forgotten. Yeah, they just use there's the tower I need right there. They just run the front tower in the back. So can I just flip those around? I think I can. All right, let's try that. Maybe we dug for parts for no reason. Yeah. I love good debate about things like full-size cars. So why can't we have the same with RCs? Just because I don't like one RTR someone else likes doesn't mean I'm mean to someone. 100%, not 100%, 1,000%. As I told the guy who got really, really mad when I said things he did not like about the Ascent. Here's the thing. If you like it, then you like it. And nothing I say should be able to change that. I'm not giving you an opinion. That's the thing that I'm trying to establish that some folk seem unwilling to accept. Re-engineer it. If I don't like it, I don't like it for a reason. I don't go into anything arbitrarily. There is stuff I don't like about every RC vehicle ever made. There's something that isn't right. Element, I know that they wanted to be different and that they didn't want to do high pinion. I get it. But I'll be the first person to tell you they probably should have. That pinion is, maybe some don't know. Maybe some don't know, and it's right here in the bin, and we can show you. I think there's an element gear in here. Tell me there's an element gear in here. Yes. Okay. Okay. Follow me. Follow me down this path. Okay. Here is the ring gear from an element. It's the one piece. So this is an RTR, the non-machine. And here is a ring gear from an AR-44. So you see the AR-44 is a little bit smaller around, tiny little bit, not a huge amount. I would say 4 millimeters smaller in circumference, right? They basically fit with an amount of fitment so close that you can use the interchangeable drive shafts almost. But 10.2 drive shafts don't fit in these. They made them just different enough. So this is the high pinion. So the pinion goes in up like that. That's high pinion, right? Which means you can't reverse them. Center pinion, like these, you can. That's why I had to make sure so I don't accidentally put it in the wrong way. But this is the pinion from a typical AR-44 ring and pinion. And this is the pinion from an Element. And that's the problem. This is why they blow up. Because look at the amount of flat surface at the top. It's a quarter the size. Just look how little it is. Look at it comparatively. This is the grand weakness of Element. And I don't know what they could do other than redesign the ring and pinion. Their axle housings are fixed mid-out point. So it's not like they're going to change, like if they had done them the way SSD does, so that you can actually change the back. This is the back to run AR-44 gears and turn it into high pinion. So there are things I don't like, but there is enough that I do like to offset the things that I don't like. That's all I'm asking of an RC car. Just be better than you are not optimal. Just do that. And Element does that, I think, with the best of them. Whereas Red Cat has gotten some things correct as of recent. They do metal-bodied shocks. They have a fusion in it. They have a decent servo in it. And then they didn't try to do geometry at all. And they rehashed and they recycled and they reused. And they didn't get it right. They did not get it right. And it's a shining false economy. Because this was $299. Well, it was $275 because they're on sale. And I'm not using the body because I'm not really concerned about it. But in terms of what we have replaced, we're putting about $150 into it. So we're already at $450. And we've already got the body, which is $100. So that's $550. And then wheels and tires. Like, these things are expensive, relatively speaking. But in terms of the DNA of it, there's stuff I don't need to change. These shocks work perfectly fine. The only reason Baseline isn't still running his is he's doing the long-term test of the fake DravTechs. That's why he's not running his. And then his got donated to Old Blue. Where was it? Why do they keep using Reedy? We all hate it. Because Reedy and Team Associated are intertwined. And that's the thing. They're intertwined in their head. But nobody today knows what Reedy is or cares what Reedy is. Or if they do know what Reedy is, they know that it's not the Reedy that we had when they were making the Reedy Supersonic and the Firehawk and stuff like that. Y'all remember the Reedy Firehawk? I think that motor was like $13, $14 back then. What a great motor. What a great motor. And what they're doing now, they're slapping a sticker. This is a Dynamite. They're slapping a sticker on a sealed can just like everybody else does. And you're not going to get something good. And they have no excuse to give us the cheap crap that they give us, other than that they can continue to get away with it. We don't really have to stop them. Yeah, Was that Gears that just said that? Yeah. Element is still shoving everything chock full of Reedy, and the 480X is god awful, and the Reedy crawler motor is terrible. But everything under the Horizon umbrella is crammed with Spectrum. And Spectrum is every bit as terrible as, save for what comes in the UTB-18, curiously. I guess that system just happens to work in something that weighs like a pound. But Spectrum gets pulled out of, when I get a rig and it has Spectrum in it, that stuff gets pulled out even faster than the Reedy stuff. And that 1523, if left in servo and axle, it actually works. It's functional. You can get away with it. But for chassis mounted, it's not going to make enough torque. So we're going to pop that off there. We're going to try to leave the OE towers on here. We might undergo another little mini experiment as we're going. And we might just leave this tower on here and see how long. I have never run one of these with the Panhard attached to the shock tower. So we might run it and see how long it fights off the ghosts. Why not? Hey, us diabetics are all dying. Live life now. Yeah. If you put it off, next thing you know, you ran out of time. Enduro Trail Runner Fire RTR refurb for $210. I mean, when we got it for $299, that's a deal. $210 is like stealing it. And that is basically the same thing that's going on here, only I changed even less. I changed even less. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that Panhard mount, dang if they didn't do it. Dang if they didn't do it. That Panhard mount is in the exact correct spot. It really is. Yeah, this thing should be great. The springs are too firm for when it has that the gray body that's buried under a pile of stuff over there, the Sendero. I don't think these are going to be too stiff once this has a giant ABS Bronco stuck on it. Yeah, it's what got me, again, I feel, on the one hand, I feel a little guilt when I talk about other channels. I'm like, they're just guys doing their own things. Like, I love Corridor Crew, the guys who talk about VFX in movies, and they often talk about no one sets up to do crappy visual effects. No one sets out to make a terrible movie. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happens that way. So when I see other channels making videos, I am the very first to give the benefit of the doubt, because I don't think that they're being deliberate in misleading people. But then, and what this is leading back around to in a roundabout kind of way is I've kind of stopped watching RC review videos because, and I understand I operate under a format. I make a formatted video. I don't like the format because RC review has a lot of cuts, little diced together. The King of Montana over here, Chick RMT, was talking just earlier today that Francis will begin a sentence, and then because there's a cut, he never goes back to the sentence. He never finishes that thought. Like a thought, and like I lose my thoughts all the time, but I make an effort to go back. And also, I think a problem that other channels have is we buy this and we do the work to it, or channel members send things in to get tested. So I have no obligations, right? So I will tell you exactly what I think about this. The folks reviewing the Ascent Fusion, they're not allowed to have opinions. They can't give you anything objective because there's a script. Watch them all. They're going to tell you all the specs on every vehicle. They're going to say, oh, and it's also fitted with this, and it has this, and it has this. Just like I said, they're going to read you the side of the box because in their contractual agreement, there are things that they have to say. And I don't want to have to say the things. I don't want to have to explain to you something that you already know. I've seen RC channels like this saying things like, this is the only thing to buy in 2024 and it's February. Yeah, that sounds about right. A couple channels have already called the Ascent Fusion the RTR of the year. And it came out in March? RTR of the year, huh? All right. And RCTNT is one that people should check out. I feel like RCTNT is something of a kindred spirit because he's like an Australian version. He is diligent in his testing, and when he does his testing, he tries to stick to like a protocol where because repeatability, testing, science is repeatability. That's what it is. It's just doing it over and over again. So sometimes I think to myself, there are probably people, and I'm sure there are, that are like, oh, good, he's going up Slick Rock again, or he's doing this again. Well, if I'm testing a tire, every tire gets tested as close to the same as I can. Sometimes the ground might be a little wetter, sometimes it's a little hotter, sometimes it's a little colder. They haven't figured out a way to put a dome over us, so we can't stabilize that. But I can minimize the influence of variables by running. I mean, I was just pointing out. Do you like Method 105s? Do you like Method 105s? Do you like Method 105s? I just buy these. I just buy the same exact wheel. So when I'm testing all of these wheels, it's the same wheel just over and over again on the same rig. Does anyone think it's coincidental that our primary test mule, and mule's not an insult, Baseline, mules are hardworking animals, that this is just Baseline again? Because it is yet another variable removed. And not only is it a removal of another variable, it gives us an opportunity. Because we can test it on this with his delightful, soon-to-be beat-to-poop hard body, and then we can pop those tires off and pop them on Baseline and try them on him. Same motor, same radio. Not the same servo, but, I mean, come on. Come on. Tom and Lee was good when he was still doing cheap Chinese stuff he'd buy himself, but now it's obviously he has to be overly positive to keep the money coming in. And I guess that with 200,000 subs, I guess with that comes a greater level of responsibility. I guess that's what it is. Because, I mean, my hope is that if this channel has undergone change, I hope that that change is moving toward the positive. I don't think that I've changed my testing, except to refine it to make it better. I was just discussing with the buddy of mine that's right over there. I need to flood the algorithm so longtime viewers, guys, you're in for it, because what occurred to me is that the Canyon tire testing protocol is in its current form with the 10 stations, the little whiteboard, write the numbers down, 0 to 10, and then we get a maximum possible score of, well, I mean, it's a 0 to 100 scaling, but realistically, about 98 is about as high as the tire is going to get. Unless you're the magic in rubber form that is a Panther Cougar. So there are a laundry list of tires that predate that testing format. So the Rupture has never been tested under the new format. And look at this. These are already mounted. The Deepwoods, not tested in the format. The Hot Bodies Rovers in both 3.93 and the 5+ incher that's on the 2.2. There's, I want to say Hunks and Holds, probably also not tested. HVT03, if he's still out there, he would be the guy that would know probably better than I which tire was tested under the new scoring and which tire has not been. And we need to I need to revisit. We need to get those tires onto the leaderboard. And I mean, you know, if we're already going to do it, we might as well do it. RC family, it has changed. I've been watching all your old stuff. Your videos and content has really improved. You have a right to be proud of what you do. You know, I try. It was a big shift for me going from just using a phone, which is easy and what I like, lazy, to using proper cameras. Look, we can go and microphones and better tripods and better equipment and moving to live streaming. This is what I consider progress. I can do a list of tires that need a revisit if you want to. If you would be willing to do that, I will be willing to do the tests. Bouncing Noise, the first time I was disappointed watching Exo was comparing the Ascent Fusion on Megalithics versus a stock stance. Yeah, that was rough. Now, in his defense, he did go back and he did a follow-up video, which was stance versus fusion, and they were both basically similarly outfitted, but they were also both unnecessarily modified. All he needed to do was either put the stock tires back on the Fusion, which would have been the purest test, or put the same set of tires and inserts and wheels on both vehicles, because that is very basically science. I believe the fake Tusk were on the new protocol. Or were they? No, they're on the old one. They're on the old one. I would say that they would probably be like in the 95s. That would just be a guess. I just have one set here. I should probably just order another set, as the set I have here has got a little bit of miles on it. Does Canyoners not do super chats? We've had two. There were two. JC NorCal sent $2. $2. I waste that money on coffee. I do it. The HVT03, the fake Tusk, the Fusk, the mixed racing Fusk. I think it was on the old one. The Rupture are lousy on wood, no good indoors. Here's the thing about wood. Wood, when it gets wet, gets really slippery, very slippery. Getting a tire that grips well on wood, you could, you know how the guys up in the dang it, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, that part, right, where it gets really icy, they'll put a bunch of screws through a motorcycle tire, and they'll drive 13th place for the fuss. They'll whip around on a frozen lake. If you were to take a set of, say, what's in front of me? If you were to take a set of, say, Canyon Trails, and you were to put tiny little screws through, so the gaps, so basically where you cut the lug out, put a screw there, and then right in between these lugs, if you put screws through them, so you're gonna put a gajillion screws through these. If you were to do that, you would have an unstoppable wood crawling tire that would probably get you kicked out of your indoor crawling establishment there, because it would be like, you're cheating. And you're like, listen, I drove 800 screws into those tires, and I deserve whatever I get. Any recommendations on 4.19 non-crawling tires? It's for my two-wheel drive pre-runner. Honestly, the Louise Mallet rapidly became my favorite 4.19 tire. It looks amazing. It looks excellent. I love the look of that tire. They are not expensive relative to other tires. I think $23, $24 a pair. And you'd have is it Fast Tracks for you guys, or can you get Louise? Either one, whichever one. They look great, and they pair perfectly with the Injora Class 1 inserts. Like, absolutely perfectly. I'm running the greens. That's a bit. Speaking of a video that I haven't made yet, I need to do a video of basically the sub-final setup on Ruby, my 4Runner, trail runner, but it's a 4Runner, with the mallets. The mallet is a great tire. You would want to just run the blues. I'm running the greens because she's super light. But if it's for a pre-runner, yeah, I would put the blue Injoras in there and just go ham. Yeah. The mallets in 12. And then here's the thing. Ruby had these. She was fitted with Class 1 tusks. And I took them off. Because you know what? Sometimes it's not all about just, I want maximum amount of traction. It needs to have that driving experience. And they absolutely deliver that. I love the mallet. I need to buy more Louise tires. I have a set of Champs over there hanging on a peg because, as someone just said, are Louise crawler tires made from the same compound as the old Durtrex tires? I have nothing to make me believe that they're not. But I do know that I was more impressed with the mallet than I was with the pivot. But I think that's because the pivot is a little rounded shoulder on the tire, and the mallet is more squared off. And I'm a bigger fan of a more squared off shoulder for performance wise. And yes, I realize that I did just say, where did it go? I don't care what a tire looks like, but I like the way these tires look. Yeah. 100%. The mallets made me choose a tire that performs less gooder for a tire that looks better. And honestly, when I do get around to sitting down on a bucket chair and making that video, I don't think any of you will be disappointed in the performance of that trail runner with the mallets on it. They're real good. They're real good. And that's the thing. If you have because it's element platform under that trail runner, it's pretty good. It's already pretty good. So if you have a tire that pulls like a 97 score, put that on a rig that's not as good, because the tire can help make up for some of those performance discrepancies. Why do you think Baseline's everyday tire are RTR compound Canyon trails on Canyon medium inserts, hair buns on Tim Tins? He's got the cheapest, simplest setup, and they just work. So there's absolutely no reason to change them. We've got tires that score better, like, what are they, the second or third highest scoring 2.2 LP Tusks? They got replaced by the tire nobody can buy. But yeah, the 2.2 LP Tusk, I already have a build. I already have another build for that one. JC NorCal American Bullies, another super thanks, which is apparently, let's celebrate their 10th super on a live stream. They're just throwing it around. Just throwing it around. To make a as we grow, as we get into 3B. 3B is not bad. 3B might be up there. As we grow near the end, we'll make a reference that only a select few will understand. So Brad Neely was a maker of great animated things, like a great rap about George Washington, and he did a little series of animateds called The Professor Brothers. And the guy is having a night at the club, and he says, he refers to money as fliff, and he says, whipping out fliff, not even counting it. Whipping out Fliff like a sultan. And JC NorCal up here, whipping out Fliff like a sultan, not even counting it. So I am going to, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do things. I'm going to get this to a point where it can move at some point soonish. It could almost move now. We could almost move now. But I've got to shorten a drive shaft. I have to go through the fun and arduous process of sorting both a drag link, because this drag link ain't going to work. This is an SOA drag link. And it also needs to be mounted to the top of that. There's a bunch of minutiae that needs to be dealt with. We will figure out a body mount solution. There's no super rush on getting this guy going, because I do also recognize there are a lot of projects currently underway. I want to get I want to get that spider put together before I'm worried about getting this put together, because Baseline can always test another set or two. Basically, this whole thing is happening because because I have a set of the blue Injora inserts for Class 1, and I want to test I want to test those tusks, which you just saw a moment ago, with the blue inserts on this thing with a hard body to see how they do under a more appropriate Class 1 situation. That's the goal. So, I have made a not atypical mess. Not too bad. We've made a bigger mess. I've seen more messes than this. And we are going to I have no backup, because I got all the siding up, I got the awning built, I got some of the stuff cleaned out back there. We have got we're getting closer to being able to tear that hideous metal shed down. And I know that metal shed doesn't offend anyone nearly as much as it offends me, because I want it gone. And once that is gone and we can build a little new part to the course, we can get back to business as usual. Yeah, that's Spider. I want to get the Spider built, because if something is that frustrating to build the axles and gearbox for, it better be good. It better do some good things. It better do the things. So what we'll do is we'll look forward to the next week. Oh yeah, man, that's another video I've got to make. We'll talk about the video that I'm not talking about now that I'm going to make during the week, and we'll talk about that next time, because the place is filling up with rigs badly, like real bad. And we did build a whole new building to make more room in here, and the room that I made, I filled it up already. What are we doing? So there's going to be, we're going to have a giveaway, and I have not decided on as to how we're going to, no, Shaker MT definitely on the ground. He's right over here. I am going to figure out how we're going to go about getting rid of one of the rigs here. What'd you say?
The Jimny. Never drive it.
I'm not giving away. That thing's discontinued. I'm not getting rid of that. I'm talking about the FCX10. Because that one will lure the people in. People keep trying to say raffle, but I don't know. Like,
people would have to send you something, and then you pick their names, and then whoever you pick gets the. They send you their name in the mail, and then you.
Oh, that's interesting. It's not a bad idea.
You're not buying anything. You're just sending in your entry.
All right, so we have many things to do. I think I half completed a thought. I'm not trying to go full RC review here. I'm going to try to complete the thought that I got halfway through a moment ago, which is I don't even have a video for tomorrow yet. I was too busy putting up siding and building an awning. So first thing in the morning, I need to film at least 2 videos tomorrow so I can get Saturday and Sunday, because I'm going to be at a hockey game on Sunday. So I got to film those 2 videos in the morning. I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I got it. And if time permits, I will get the next Spider installment filmed as well. We'll see. Oh, that's interesting. Post pics of everyone's builds, and whoever gets the most likes wins the giveaway. Interesting, very interesting. We will talk about a great many things coming up soon. I will get some things done, hopefully. I mean, I can't make any promises because there are so many incomplete rigs in and around me right now that it's shameful, is what it is. Oh, the visitor garage, there's got like 7 rigs in it. It's bad. It's really bad. So HVTO3 is heading off to bed, and he's right about the right time. We usually knock off here about 3:30 over in Pacific time, midday here in the nearly mythical land of California. So I will take this opportunity to thank you all so much for joining us here on the live stream again this week. We had a proper turnout. We got people in the house. We got people in the house, the metaphorical house. We loved having you here in the canyon, even if you were only here in digital spirit. I thank you for all this. I thank you for the super thanks and etc. etc. We will do more stuff. We will think more thoughts and do more things in the next one. Thank you again for all being here. 3B, I don't know, 3B. When you say it fast, 3B. 3B is kind of ringing with me, so we'll see what this ends up with once I source out the links for it. I will see you again real soon, everybody. If you have any questions in between live streams, hit me up in the comments, send me an email, what have you. I'm always around. I make every effort possible not to leave the yard. My goal is to field of dreams this whole thing and just lure you here like the guy in the white van. So so we got candy. We've got the saltiest candy in the world, kids. Get in the van. So we'll see you next time. And thanks everybody. We will see you next time.